entire thing. That's why I'm telling you,
So
in
this
my
point-
worldview.
Can you repeat back the question so I know you understood it?
Yes, how would I as a human notice if even one line in the Bible were deceptive? In Christianity, this is my response. You have to understand, in Christianity, God cannot lie or deceive. It is impossible. It says in Hebrews, it is impossible for God to lie. God is not man that he should lie. God is not a giant human in the sky. Because
let's say that line, let's say that particular line.
But you keep saying that line. There is no deceptive line to detect.
No, I got to call it. Like, let's say that line, the line that says God cannot lie.
You understand? That cannot exist in the Christian worldview. That can't exist.
Wait, so
there's nothing to detect.
All it would mean, if it were true that that line was deceptive, it would just mean that you're holding to an incorrect worldview. So I'm asking you, how would you, as a human, be able to identify, if it were the case that that line saying God cannot lie was a deceptive line, how would you be able to identify it?
Yeah, it seems like you didn't hear my response. What was my response?
I think your response is just that it's contradictory if it isn't true, right? Which just assumes the veracity of your view, right?
Right, it just seems like you have a presupposition that it's
you're essentially...
Yeah. The point is, right, that the question is, how do you know that this statement is true and you're not being deceived, right? You're saying, it would be contradictory to the Christian worldview, which just is all you're stating is that you're just assuming the veracity.
What you're saying are, even if everything else is true, one line could be false. How could I, a finite human, know that line is deceptive? Right. I'm telling you, my response to you is, yes, my response is, deception is impossible in Christianity.
Which just then assumes the veracity.
Yeah, that's just, you're just,
all you're doing. It is impossible for God to lie.
All you're doing is you're expressing all you're doing is expressing you have a presupposition that God can't lie. But I'm asking you, how would you be able to know if that presupposition were false? It sounds like you don't have a method for understanding if that presupposition is false or true.
Because any question about detecting deception only works if you imagine a God who can lie, but that is not the Christian God.
But I'm asking you, how do you know that your understanding of the Christian God isn't false? It sounds like you're just saying it's a presupposition that it's true that God can't lie. I mean, I don't know why that's interesting. Like, I could just presuppose
we can move on,
my observations are correct. I'm not being
this is another point. So now, even if God, so you're basically asking me, so even if God reveals the truth, how do I know that my interpretation, personal interpretation or understanding of that revelation isn't wrong, right?
Or no, God.
No, that's not my question. That's not my question. That's like a brain in the brain question. I'm not
saying what you're
hold
essentially
on, guys. God could be revealing something to you that isn't true. So like you believe that God doesn't lie because God told you that, but God could be lying to you and telling you that.
That's not what Sino is not saying. That's not what Sino is saying.
What is he saying?
Cosmic, you can say what I'm saying. I think you understand my question.
He's stating, right, that, what's like some method that you're using to decipher that all of these statements are true, right? That God isn't actually lying, or that it actually is God and not just some Cartesian demon, right? That's like, making it all seem true, but there's at least one statement that's false. Your answer to that was just, if there is one singular false statement, then that just wouldn't be the Christian God. And then we're talking about two different things, and that would be contradictory. Is that not your answer? Then what's your answer?
Hold on. I want to make sure we know where we're at in the dialectic here. So J-Rob, I'll just for new people. J-Rob was having a conversation with Coco, asking, hey, how do we know these nomological laws that we see in reality, biology, all that? How do you know that's going to be consistent tomorrow as it is today, right? Well, J-Rob is saying, in the God hypothesis, this doesn't account for consistency because I guess God is influencing these laws to be consistent, right? God is actively God could change these laws, like he could change all these laws to be different. Of course, there'll still be life permitted because God can make, and this concept doesn't need to be the same for life to permit. Maybe depending how we define the words, right? But God could desire any kind of constants and life can still persist. But the question, how do we know that it's going to be the same? So one way J-Rob says this is, God even though the reason God won't change is because God has revealed that He will today will be the same, tomorrow will be the same as today. All has been revealed through God, right? And then that's why this whole deceptive God conversation came. I just gave one view, right? But J-Rob, I think you also want to do, because we may just reach a roadblock here with that deceptive God talk. But J-Rob, you say, well, you say like, well, we have an account for it. We have a grounding God. We have a God that's doing it. How's the atheist doing it? Is one question that he kept on trying to have us address, right? How do we, as the atheist, account for consistency? And I think I'm not too sure what's wrong with some natural disposition where, like some necessitarian view where the laws are just will just happen to be consistent. There's just a natural disposition for these laws
there's
to
no
be the way they are.
explanation. That's not an explanation.
Yeah, it's as much of an explanation as to what explains God's desires.
No, it doesn't, because God still has a will and a mind. So his desires are just going to reflect like his perfect nature, right?
No, you're saying that why would God desire specifically a world like this? He could desire any other world,
Yeah,
Like,
again,
like
because
God could create God can create any God can create any state of affairs.
I thought the question was, how do I know my understanding isn't false? But
Wait, what? No, that's the deceptive. That's that deceptive topic, and I think we may just reach a roadblock there, honestly, because you keep begging the
I don't think
question.
we did.
Did we? Well, you making some head? Okay, I'll let you go back to it then.
Answering you, but you don't like the answer.
I think. Well, no. I think his answer is, if that were true, then it wouldn't be the concept of God that I understand, right?
Okay, fine. Let me put it in this way then.
Wait, but am I right? Is that your answer?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not saying that
answer.
all. I'm not. All right. I'm not saying that all our knowledge is perfect. I want to say that our understanding is not perfect, but is grounded in God's unchanging truth. And now let me clarify. I, as a human, may be limited in my understanding, but my knowledge is grounded in God, who is unchanging, who is truthful. And scripture and reality both reflect his character, so we can trust what we understand aligns with truth. So if all knowledge is uncertain without a perfect standard, then how can you trust anything at all in your worldview? Because Christianity,
I've already conceded.
Justification.
Well, but I've already conceded that my worldview could be totally false. Like I'm fine with that. But that doesn't give me any more answer to how you would know that the line in the Bible stating that
provides a God.
Hold on, one second. Just 1 second. So that doesn't give me any more understanding of how you know that the line in the Bible that says God can't lie is true. It sounds like you're saying if it were true that God deceived us in that line, then it wouldn't be the Christian God, which is just to say that your worldview would be false. But I'm not asking you if your worldview were false, would it be false? I'm asking you, how do you know that it isn't false? Like, what are you employing to understand that line is true and not just coming from a deceptive God or, say, a man?
Well, okay, you can. All right, so you're essentially asking me, how do I know the Bible is true? How do I know that my claim that God cannot lie itself is false? Right?
How do you know the line in the Bible that says God can't lie is true and not a
God
deception?
cannot lie is true, right? How does my understanding of it make sure it isn't false, right?
I'm asking you, how do you know that the line in the Bible that says God cannot lie is not a deception?
Yes, and you have to understand, I'm not relying on my understanding alone. I'm relying on the nature of God and how it is revealed. Do you know about the nature of God? Because I'm saying the nature of God.
But you're just.
It seems.
But I'm asking you, if what is revealed to you is a deception, how would you know?
Because, like I said, I'm not relying on myself. I rely on the nature of God, how it's revealed.
This isn't going.
God,
You're just saying you have a presupposition.
Let me clarify. It is impossible for him to deceive. Period. Scripture faithfully communicates this because it aligns with God's character.
What do you mean by faithfully there?
Hold on. And this character is observable in the consistency of reality, in the consistency of reason, the consistency of moral order. So I'm not simply asserting my opinion, I'm reasoning from an unchanging foundation of God's nature. Any
This
I
guy's
think
true,
you are.
conditional he
I think
gave
you are
you.
asserting your
but
opinion.
no, you have to
Yeah, the
understand.
conditional he gave you was if God wasn't as you
N-
know today, right? How would you, or if God was deceptive, how would you know? And then you change it by saying, well, the God I know wouldn't be deceptive, which is just not engaging with what he's saying. It's just
No,
changing
Yeah.
the
any
antecedent.
true understanding must cohere with his character.
Yeah,
Deception
that's
is
just
logically
it's not
Yeah.
going
impossible
I
anywhere.
don't
for him.
really
Yeah,
think you're ready for this question.
we're not going. That's what I'm saying. We could move past
It's
it because
if
it's
all right.
not
Yeah,
So
I'm fine
understanding
with
the
moving
context.
past
for
it.
anybody in
It's
this
just gonna
live,
like
then
repeat
for
the same
anybody,
thing and just keep
for anybody
going
in
over
this
and
life, for clarity, if there is no unchanging standard of truth, how can you know anything is true, including your own reasoning?
Yeah,
Because
I'll answer
Christianity
that.
provides a
I'll
God
answer
whose
that.
unchanging nature guarantees
his
that
answer was I don't
knowledge
know,
isn't
and then he started
is
attacking your
reliable.
view.
I'll answer that. So
So
like I
what
could
is
just
that?
say, look, I could just say that my perception of reality is incorrect because I've been deceived by some, some demon, or perhaps I'm a brain in a vat. Like there's no way for me to really know that. And I'm fine with saying that. I'm not afraid to say that. But it seems like the Christian like isn't capable of coming to that same conclusion and just saying like, oh, I have this presupposition that the Bible is true. Like if you were able to say that, that to me would be a much more honest answer than just repeating that whatever nonsense you just have been saying for the last 5 minutes.
Just repeating that you're assuming the veracity of it. Like, you're just saying, oh, it must be true, right? Because if it's not true, then how can I guarantee truth? You're just begging the question over and over again.
Right, right. And I'm fine
So
with moving on from this. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think we're going to get anything from this guy.
So then J-Rob. Okay. So then I guess the next bit is it
Well,
could
I
be.
heard J. Rob saying that I heard J. Rob.
Atheists
Can't be moral realists, or that's
It,
why I
it's
requested
just
a while
weird.
ago.
It's
Oh,
just
that
weird
wasn't J-Rob.
because
That was the
you're.
Nate guy.
It's just weird because you
And
haven't addressed any of your main points. Maybe
Like he's
like
deeply confused.
you're trying to say that maybe my perception is completely off.
I
Like
heard.
that's
No, no.
That's not what he's saying. No, the conditional has
Oh,
been for like 10 minutes now on repeat. It's been like if I asked, it's like if I said, "Hey, Seb, if if naturalism wasn't true, and you were instead a theist, right? And this theist God is deceptive. How would you know that he is deceptive, right? How would you know that he's lying to you?" And then you say, separate like replies to me with like, no, atheism is true, so I don't have to answer that. It's like, okay. The conditional didn't involve that
okay.
at all. You're just changing the conditional, and it's not productive. It's not good conversation. It's not good faith. It's not linear.
this is the final thing I'm saying. I'm answering you, but you don't like the answer. That's why you're saying it's not an answer. You just don't like it. It's
Actually not
very
an
simple.
answer. It's just genuinely just not. It's not that we don't like
No,
the answer. It's just
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on your
you
answer, whether I like it or not.
you just don't like
not
it.
an answer to
You're
the
saying
question.
it's not an answer because it doesn't adhere with your
No,
worldview.
it just doesn't
but it's
answer. It just doesn't
Are you
answer
putting
the
words
question.
in their
No.
mouths?
It's
Just
like if
doesn't
I were to
answer.
ask
I'm
you
not
which
putting words in
it's
their
like
mouth. I never
if I
said
were to
they
ask
said
you
never
One at a
conditional.
time, please.
it's like if I were to ask you what direction is the post office and you said red. It's not that I don't like your answer. It's just not an answer to the question.
Yes, but you have to understand, I'm not trusting my perception alone. Do you not understand that? I'm not trusting my own perception.
Holy shit,
Is what
no,
you're
he's not gonna
assuming.
I just don't think he's gonna get
Well, I
it.
think
I don't know what else you have other than your own
interesting.
We're not going
perception.
anywhere with that.
An interesting question is even if God is unchanging, I don't understand how you connect that to uniformity of nature, especially if you take miracles to be some breaks in the laws of nature, right? So like spontaneous healing due to prayer, and God changing whatever fact of being is happening in a person, right? So say somebody has cancer, normally, this would follow a course, either a natural healing or intervention through medicine, or the patient succumbs to the cancer.
I think
But-
J-Rob's
but
response to that.
through-
was-
Wait,
let him finish
through-
real quick. Go ahead and I'll throw it away.
through this faith healing, or through, say, miracles, like the resurrection of Jesus. These are breaks in uniformity. And so the question, I think, an interesting question is, even if you have an unchanging God, like we can grant that if your God is real, it has an unchanging nature. Why would that guarantee uniformity of nature of the universe? I don't understand how you make that connection. I don't think I've heard it.
Well, J-Rob's response to that was, it's not so much that God is changing the constants of nature, right? He's just particularly individuals who will just endow like supernatural properties onto them. right?
So it's
they're
natural.
they're almost like one-offs.
It's either not natural or it's natural, right?
It will be
If
not
it's
natural.
fine. If
Will be
it's
not
natural and
natural.
follows the laws of nature, then fine, you still have uniformity. If it's non-natural and it breaks the laws of
No, bro.
uniformity, then you don't have uniformity.
I
Uniformity is
explained
like
this.
pregnancy.
I
Uniformity is like
explained this
pregnancy.
already.
You either have
You
it
know, a
or you don't
miracle
have it.
isn't a let me answer you real quick, because you know a miracle isn't a violation of uniformity, right? In the sense of chaos.
So uniformity is
It's-
followed nature.
No, it's God
Or miracles follow
temporarily. No, it's God temporarily exercising authority over creation according to His unchanging plan. The
Do they
fact that
follow?
miracles.
Do they that this plan doesn't
So no,
matter.
so it's
You
very
guys are-
simple. The
you
simple.
guys are missing the point.
No, you. I guess you didn't hear me when
Uniformity
I said
of nature.
yes,
Uniformity of nature
there's
is a very
uniformity
specific
in
thing.
nature. Oh my God, just listen.
One at a time.
There's uniformity in nature, right? God is a supernatural being, right? So that means that the uniformity in nature is with regards to nature, not regards to God. God is not natural, right? So
Nobody's talking about that, J. Rob.
you said if God
Is he
if God
intervening?
if God performs a miracle, then there's no uniformity in nature. Is that not what you said?
I'm saying you break uniformity.
You don't break uniformity again.
No.
Yeah, you
No.
do.
You're saying.
Wait,
How did I not?
See, the whole entire example
Wait, guys,
says.
hold on.
Let's take-
Wait. Yes,
Hold on,
you
let's
do,
take
right?
a very
Because like,
clear-cut view.
okay, so
Let's
like,
take a-
no, really quick. So like, in our reality, when people get cancer, usually they like pass away from it, like most of the time, right? So if God comes in and like somebody has cancer on Thursday, then Friday there's no cancer to be found, he's breaking the uniformity of nature.
No, he's not. So
Yeah, he is. Like he's changing the rules.
He's not. No, it's not. It's not. The uniformity of nature is not being broken. Like there's still uniformity in nature. We're saying
Nature's not operating the way that it normally does.
it does.
Nature's
It is
gone.
operating how it normally does. But nature, right? God is not bound by nature, right? So He transcends nature. So that means that nature only is binding against natural things, right? God is not a natural thing. Therefore, the uniformity in nature doesn't apply to supernatural things.
Well, yeah. So what if we're talking about
We're not
humans?
talking
And
about
another
God.
thing, he said God changes the rules. God does not arbitrarily change the rules of creation. The natural order operates consistently because God sustains it Himself. That's what,
Okay, wait,
that's
hold
what
on.
you're forgetting.
Not the real Dwight.
When God
Go ahead and say
performs
what you
a
were gonna say.
miracle, it is not a random alteration.
No, hold
It's
on. Okay,
purposeful.
You guys aren't following what we're saying. Let's take. No, I'm not saying
I'm
you guys
following
have
what
to.
you're
Okay,
saying.
I'm
I
gonna take a
literally
No,
moment
you're
to
really
do a
not
mod
saying.
announcement. So stop talking for a minute, everybody.
Yep.
I really would appreciate it if you would all have some decorum. Please speak one at a time. There are people who are down in the comments who need to use closed captioning, and when everybody is talking all at once, they can't understand what's happening. There are also people who have sensory issues. So please speak one at a time. If someone's talking at the same time as you, try and figure out how to have the conversation without talking over each other. Also, there's
Okay,
28
who-
people in here. Hang on!
All right.
There's 27 people in here now. If you guys could please tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me, and help out with the gift goal. He's got like the tiniest gift goal, guys. Come on. And yeah, just
Okay.
help us get some more engagement.
Cool. Continue.
Pretty please.
Okay.
I think you guys just might not even know.
What's that, Cosmic?
So you guys
Yeah,
define
so whoever
word
says the
uniformity.
objection, I think it's fair. Whoever says the objection, then whoever can answer, then we'll just mute.
I'm
Whoever
just
wants
saying,
the person
like,
to answer. Whoever you
just
guys
so,
pick.
just so everyone has clarity on it, define like J. Rob, the theist, define the word uniformity, or like just what does it mean to have uniformity?
Uniformity, just like the laws of nature are going to act consistently.
They're just ordered. They're just they have like a specific order.
Sure. Hello?
Okay. So let me ask. So I'm not saying that Christians have to take the story literally, right? Or they don't have to believe that the story actually happened. But in Joshua, it describes a story where Joshua spoke, and God held the sun in the sky, right? And extended the daylight so that they could have a victory over an opposing army. Now, in order for that to happen, the Earth has to stop spinning, right? It has to stop rotating. Now, that's a break in the uniformity of nature. Part of the uniformity of nature is that Earth spins on its axis due to the laws of physics, right? There's angular momentum. There's all these type of. I'm not a physics expert. I don't want to go off on a tangent and be wrong or whatever. But this is due to laws of nature that we understand, right? Now, if God is suspending Earth's rotation and nothing happens gravitationally, nothing happens with the momentum, that everything stays the same, this is breaking the uniformity. Now, that doesn't mean, hold on,
No, it's not.
Before you answer, hold on.
Let's go one at a time.
Before you answer, please hold on. I'm not finished. So I'm not saying that the laws of physics in general can't continue after this event, right? But it does mean that for this event, the laws of physics were suspended or at least intervened upon by a supernatural being. Okay? That is a break in uniformity of nature.
Can I answer this? I want to answer this, honestly. So just make sure I'm not misrepresenting you. You're saying that stopping the sun would require the Earth to stop spinning, which seems impossible. Therefore, Christians don't actually believe it happened literally, which would be a break in uniformity, right?
No. So basically,
If
basically,
events like Joshua stopping the sun actually happened, they would violate the laws of physics.
No. Okay, hold on. Whenever we say uniformity, right, we're talking about that, there are rules that allow for like our universe to operate, and those rules stay consistent in the past, in the present, in the future. Sometimes God steps in and pauses those rules for a sec to do miraculous things. So he's breaking uniformity, which is like the continuous function of like these laws, to do something really quick and then resume the uniformity. So whenever like God allows for like the sun to be in the sky for a little bit longer than it normally is, like according to like what we know about physics, like the Earth has to stop spinning and like wait a sec for the sun to be in the sky for a little bit longer, and then it resumes spinning whenever God allows the day to go by. So God's technically breaking the uniformity of nature to have this happen, and then just having the laws continue to operate. That's basically the understanding.
But okay, this is what you're misunderstanding. Uniformity in the universe exists because God sustains it consistently, meaning miracles are not random violations. They are intentional. They are rare interventions to accomplish his purpose because everything aligns with his purpose. So him pausing or adjusting natural laws for a miracle does not destroy uniformity. It demonstrates his authority over his creation. So most events would still follow the regular pattern, which is why we can make predictions and we can understand. We can, as humans, we understand cause and effect, right? And we can reason logically. But miracles are exceptions. They're not the rule. They're not the highlights, but they're the normal uniformity. It's rather undermining that pretty much. Miracles are just exceptions, pretty much.
The point was just that.
So
like,
God sustains the.
The point was just that, like, there's instances in which, under your worldview, right, under your view, there are breaks in uniformity, right? So it's not guaranteed that there is just like some consistent uniformity. Like, there's instances in which God breaks this natural uniformity that which He sustains. That was the point.
Exactly. Thank you.
Which I would think that you would trivially agree to.
Yeah, so basically, like, God's holding everything together, and then one day he decides, I'm going to do something that's completely abnormal. He's breaking uniformity, and then he resumes to hold everything together. It would still follow.
Okay, well, a clock that normally ticks steadily, if the owner pauses it briefly to make an adjustment, the
That's breaking
regularity isn't
uniformity.
destroyed.
Yeah.
The
No,
It's kind of like
regularity
when
isn't
it's literally
destroyed.
breaking
The
uniformity.
normal
it,
operation continues afterward. So God normally sustains the universe consistently, but miracles are intentional exceptions that show his authority, and they are not random breaks. Most
Okay, no,
events
that is a
still
break.
follow
Nobody
predictable
says they're
That
patterns.
random.
is a break.
you know,
Like,
saying
so
It's
basically,
not a break.
yes,
It's
it
not
is
a.
because like if you have a clock that's ticking at a normal speed, and then randomly the owner of the clock is like, "I'm gonna stop it from ticking." He's breaking uniformity and
No,
stopping it from ticking, and then
no,
resuming
that's
it
not.
later.
That's not a breaking uniformity of
Yes,
nature. So,
bro, like
I can show. I can show you
wait,
how.
wait,
Oh my
J-Rob,
gosh.
well,
Oh my
whenever you
gosh.
ask
Can
it,
I just? Can
wait,
I?
hold
Can
on,
I give?
wait, hold on. Whenever you ask an atheist, what's your grounding for human uniformity? You're asking the atheist, what's your grounding that things are going to stay the same continuously yesterday, today, and tomorrow? So when it comes to Christianity, I don't think that there's really uniformity that applies because there's no guarantee that's going to stay the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow because God literally breaks this consistency all the time, right? It
We
doesn't
said that
stay the
already.
same.
Let me show you how it's not a break in uniformity.
Oh my
Because,
god.
oh, y'all, I know y'all are emotionally driven, so y'all can't actually
Where's
engage.
meant there? Wait,
I get it.
if
I
we're
get
getting it
it. But
wrong,
just try to track, and then maybe we
Bro,
can
stop
move.
the meta.
We can move
wait,
forward.
Nobody's
I mean,
losing.
J-Rob,
you
maybe
guys are
we're
the
getting it
ones.
Yeah, you're
wrong.
gonna stop the
You
fucking
guys.
meta, J-Rob.
Wait,
Seriously.
You guys are the ones that are
Don't
barking.
mute him. Don't mute him. Don't mute him.
You guys are the ones that are
J-Rob.
barking while I'm
Just let him ramble.
talking,
Let
and
him
then
ramble.
Okay.
muting me
Let him
because
go. Let
I'm
him
trying
go.
to finish
Go ahead, J
actually
Rob.
J-Rob,
saying what
just
I was trying to say.
equivocating
But
before
you're
you make the point.
interrupting me
Wait,
Hold
while
on.
I'm
Let J Rob
before
go.
trying
you
to
Let
make
J
the
Rob
actually
point,
go.
show
J-Rob,
you
just
my
explain what you mean
argument,
by
but I
breaking
can't actually
uniformity.
make an argument because you guys
Just
just
show
want
it. Wait,
want to
just
gap.
define what
I
that
can
word,
show you
what
what
that
I'm
term
going to
means.
show
One
you,
at a
and then
fucking
you can ask me
time.
a question after I'm
Define the
finished.
term, please.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
go
show
for
you
it.
what I want to
Equivocating.
show you, and
Go
then you
for
can
it.
ask me a question, please and thank you.
Go for it.
So this is the reason why it's not a break in uniformity because even if the clock right is moving at a certain speed, right, that's because there's order and structure in which it's causing it to act that way, right? Now if another force acts upon it, right, there is still a force, a nature behind that force that is going against it, but the clock is still the clock and it's still acting according to its nature. It's just being acted against, right? The nature of the clock is still a clock, right? It didn't stop being a clock, right?
What is it?
It's still a clock. So it is acting according to its nature, bound by nature. Just another force is going against it.
No, J
What
Rob.
does
J
it mean to have a
Rob.
break in uniformity? Hold on. What does it mean to have a break in uniformity, Jacob?
There's uniformity in nature.
What does it mean to have a break in
Again,
uniformity?
the
Wait. Answer the
nature
question,
of
J
the
Rob.
thing, the
Wait. What does
nature
it
of
mean
the
to have a
thing
break in
is gonna.
uniformity?
Oh my god!
Just answer his question. Like, what does
That's
it
what I'm
mean
doing. What the hell?
Okay, go for it.
Oh, so the nature of the thing is going to consistently act according to its own, nature of its own. Yeah, it's going to be consistent, right? So any like if like let's use the example that he gave, right? With the world, the Earth was rotating, right? If something acts against the world, right, there's going to be a cause and effect relation to it, right? It's still going to be the world. It's still going to be a globe, but there's a force acting against it, which is causing some type of
Break in
reaction.
uniformity.
It's a cause and effect.
It would
Right.
break its nature,
So if God
reaction.
if God stopped the world from spinning, there's still uniformity in nature,
Wait,
right?
there's uniformity in nature,
There's
but there's a
just
break.
a force. There's just a force
Holy shit.
that's not bound by nature that is acting against the
Okay, I get
the
what he's
globe.
saying. I see what he's
What
saying.
he might be saying, just maybe this might be what he's saying,
No,
is
I know what
that
he's saying.
just consistency does not mean it must be perfection. If a line of soldiers is walking and one breaks the uniform, movement, but gets back into shape, immediately. So it's still consistent uniform. It's just not perfect.
No,
I don't. Maybe
I
he's just
think what
saying
he's
the
saying.
objection is insufficient.
No,
No,
I think what he's saying is that there's just because God, stops the earth, right? That's still its natural uniformity there, right? It's not breaking its nature. because God can just put it right back into the ticking, right? Like with the clock example, it's not breaking its nature. But if by uniformity of nature you just mean something goes against its nature, right? Like the way that it naturally is, that would be a break in nature, right, or a break in uniformity, because God is stopping the Earth from rotating, and the Earth naturally rotates. It's just a part of its nature to rotate, right? So that would be a break in uniformity. Now, that's not to say that, there's now infinite breaks of uniformity. No, right? God can just put it back into motion, but there is some break in uniformity. So your original thing that you said, right, that like theism, or at least the Christian worldview, guarantees consistent uniformity, right? Then that's just false, because then we have instances in which God stops the nature, breaks the nature of the object, and then just puts it back to where it was.
No, you're not. No, there's no breaking.
J-Rob, can I ask you a question?
There's no breaking. Wait, hold on. There's no breaking uniformity, right? Is cause and effect a break of uniformity?
If by uniformity, you just mean to go against the nature of a thing,
To go against its own
the
nature.
nature of itself, right? Then that I don't know what that question's even asking me in regards to that.
Yeah, but if God stopped the Earth from spinning, that would violate Newton's first law, and then it would no longer be a law.
Like, let's just say, like with the clock example, right? It's a part of a clock's nature to tick, right? Once you stop, let's say you take the batteries out of the clock, then it's no longer doing what it naturally does. It's no longer doing what's a part of its nature. That would be a break in uniformity with the definition that you gave me.
No, that's not a break. So it's a part of the nature to tick if the batteries are on, right? So if the batteries aren't in it, it doesn't stop being a clock.
Of the clock.
It's just a clock without a battery, and it won't tick, right? It's still acting according to its nature, right? There's a cause and effect relation to the nature of the clock. So if there's a force that comes in and stops the clock from ticking, right, it's still acting in accordance to its nature. Just
it wouldn't be.
Yes. Oh my God.
I think there's confusion.
I don't get it. I don't get what you guys don't understand.
J-Rob, do you think
it's like so simple?
When we say break in uniformity, that we're saying the laws are just now broken and that they no longer operate, and God has to put them back together or something? Is that what you think we mean by the break in uniformity of nature? Because that's not what I'm talking about. When I say break, I'm just talking about a pause, right? A pause in uniformity.
A pause in consistency, basically.
Yeah, I'm just using, and we're just using exactly what you said, right?
There's
like
no
breaking
pause.
uniformity is to just go against.
I'm saying there's no pause. I'm saying there's no pause in the nature.
What's next?
There's no pause in the nature of whatever God is acting upon. There's no pause in its nature, right?
Yes, there is.
There's just going to be
like if God decide so like let's say when God walked on water, right? Normally the nature of water is that people will fall into water, sink, and maybe drown, right? God, Jesus, pauses its nature for a couple seconds, walks on it, and then it resumes to sink people.
No, so when we're talking about natural things, like natural things are bound by natural laws, right? The supernatural isn't bound by natural laws. Okay? So when something supernatural acts upon something that's natural, right? There's no breaking in the natural things. Just the supernatural isn't affected by the natural things. So there's no breaking. There's no breaking in the natural laws.
He's shifted this.
Yeah, that supernatural thing there, it shifted.
Huh? How is that shifting? That's what we're literally talking about.
He just about to show it.
That's literally what I said from the very beginning.
He just about to show it.
Look, before it was theism guarantees the consistency and the uniformity of nature. Now it's shifted from, okay, maybe the uniformity has a slight pause, but that doesn't change the nature of the thing. Hold on, but that doesn't change the nature of the thing. So now we're focusing on whether or not the change exists in the nature of the thing as opposed to whether or not it guarantees uniformity. We've shifted here.
I know. If you guys are the one that are trying to make a shift, which has been happening from the beginning. This where we're at in the conversation.
Original thing.
Where we're at in the conversation. Where we're at in the conversation, right, is not where we initially the argument. The initial argument was that we have grounding for uniformity, right? Whereas we can justify the reason why we can expect uniformity, right? Whereas with atheism, we don't. You guys don't. You guys haven't. Well, somebody has, but everybody else hasn't conceded that there is no grounding for the uniformity of nature within atheism. Now, the argument that you guys are trying to address is that, but what if God changes? Okay,
no, that's not the point. J-Rob.
Yeah, what if God changed? That's what you guys are saying.
That's not the point, J-Rob. Listen to me, J-Rob. Oh my God, listen.
If God changes the natural laws, that's what you guys were saying earlier. But what are you saying now?
This is confusion over J-Rob. Listen. Like, here's how we got to this point of the conversation, right? Started with Dwight, right? Talking about when you said that theism guarantees the uniformity of nature, right? And by that,
I never said
you just
that.
mean,
see, I never said that. That's what I'm saying. You guys are shifting. You guys keep, doing this dance. I never said that.
Dwight, did he say theism guarantees the uniformity of nature?
Never said that.
Something along the lines.
Matter of fact, Coco, do you not recall when I said, hey, look, we actually, under theism, we actually expect things to change. Under Christianity, when it says that God's going to make a new heaven and a new earth. So we already have an expectation that things are going to change.
Wait, no. At the very beginning, we were doing like a worldview comparison. And yeah, you did say like Christianity guarantees the uniformity and like atheism doesn't really. Like that was kind of the original like premise of what we were.
I never said it guarantees uniformity. I said we have reason to expect uniformity because it's been revealed. That was what I said initially.
Where has it been revealed?
Wait, then why have we been having this conversation if you didn't say that it guarantees uniformity?
I never said that. I said we have reason. I said we have reason to expect uniformity. That was the whole argument.
What have you been contending?
I mean, that's my argument. Again, you guys have been shifting. So now I'm addressing things that I wasn't even arguing. So,
you were saying that there weren't breaks of nature, and now you're saying, hey, with theism,
you guys are saying
expected to have uniformity, and change is actually expected as well.
No, you guys are arguing. It's called a straw man, right? And I've literally been saying from the beginning.
Let's just get clear on your position.
You said what?
Let's just get clear on your position. Do you affirm this? Right? Just say yes or no. Theism guarantees the uniformity of nature.
No.
Okay. Now, do you affirm this? Theism expects the uniformity of nature.
Yes.
Theism.
Well.
You said that. You said yes.
I mean,
he said grounds. He said grounds.
Well, he said grounds, and then he also said like 5 seconds.
I said we have reason to expect uniformity in nature. Yes, we have reason to expect uniformity in nature.
That just seems odd. I mean, surely you're not saying bare theism in the same way you're.
Yeah, not bare theism, obviously.
Well, okay. Look, suppose that it's not theism that gives you reason to expect. It's theism plus Christianity, in the same way that the atheists would have the same thing with atheism plus naturalism. But the reason why we're confused, right, is because you charged us earlier. You said under theism we have reason to expect the uniformity of nature. Under atheism you have no reason. But that was obviously not what you meant. Now that clear.
No, Cage. I mean, again, you're jumping into the conversation. The beginning we were talking about Christianity. We were talking about revelation. Revelation through Scripture. We talked about all these things, and then
that's not relevant to the point at hand. The point of hand,
I said that you said.
Well, no, you keep saying that. You guys have been the one shifting.
No. Look, this is what I just charged you with. I charged you with the following. I said that you said verbatim, under theism, we have reason to expect the uniformity of nature, but under atheism, y'all don't have that, and we already got one concession.
J-Rob, you said
said.
Yeah, and I said not okay, because obviously this is in context of us already talking about Christianity.
So, like,
well, then it should be in context with you already talking about atheism plus naturalism.
So basically, like, I'm challenging that. Like, what reason do we have to assume uniformity given the Christian God?
Yeah, I just said it's been revealed.
Well, I mean, like, but it's also been revealed, like, God can change uniformity all the time.
It's not changing uniformity. And,
yeah, because
even
there's a consistent way that the world operates, and God violates the consistent way that it operates.
Even if it was considered a change in uniformity, we would still have reason to expect that.
Wait, did you not say that change is expected?
Well, no, he's talking about he's talking about in a different way. right? He's
He
talking
said
about
change in uniformity. Coco was talking about the change in uniformity.
He's talking about change. Like he's saying that we have no because again, we're talking about expectations, right? So we don't expect tomorrow to automatically just change, right? We were talking about, hey, tomorrow should be the same as it was today.
You
right?
really do.
We're saying as Christians, we have reasons to expect that, right?
Were you
but under atheism, we have no reason to expect.
Coco, were you talking about change in uniformity just now?
Yeah. So basically, like we're asking the question: how do we know that?
Not expected and expected. That's contradiction.
So basically, we're asking like, how do we know that tomorrow is going to be the same as today? But
That
given
was
the
question.
Bible, tomorrow literally all the time ends up not being the same as like the other day. Maybe God stops the sun.
That's not.
I just want to be clear. Did nobody else hear this? Did nobody else hear J-Rob say that there is no change and then say change is expected? You just
Oh my gosh, bro! You understand when I'm speaking?
I don't understand the view. Then I don't know what you're saying.
All right, okay, go ahead, Belle. Go ahead, Belle.
Whatever.
I think he's saying that we expect uniformity outside of God's intervention. Okay?
Outside of God's intervention.
So what are we supposed to do? Formulate laws with caveats to allow God's intervention?
No, you should go about life the same way.
And an object in motion stays in motion unless God decides to stop it.
You don't even believe in God, so why would you worry about it?
I think this is derailing from the worldview thing. Like, I think, like, J-Rob, like, just to make it clear, this is the last time, he has changed.
I haven't changed nothing. No, you just didn't track when.
No, Coco was.
He wasn't done.
No, Coco, why am I getting muted? Oh,
No,
why is it okay to mute me
Because you're interrupting people.
Why don't you mute them when they interrupt
I mute
me?
other people too.
No, I haven't yet to see somebody get muted when I'm talking. It's so funny. Everybody talks when I'm talking.
Okay, just let
don't mute him. Don't mute him. I'm just gonna ask this. I'm just gonna clarify what Coco was talking about, and then ask you the question. Coco was talking about, and we can ask him now. Coco, were you or were you not talking about change in uniformity?
Yeah, I was talking about a changing uniformity.
Coco was talking about changing uniformity, and
in what
you said,
context?
J-Rob. Hold on, J-Rob. Then you said
in what
there
context?
is no. Then you said right, no change, and then you said even if there were, it would be expected under theism. You realize how you just contradicted yourself with that statement.
So in what context did I say that?
In the context of talking about change in uniformity.
No, in the
Coco was
context
using
of
the
J-Rob, I'm going to say this one time. When you talk over people, I'm going to start fucking muting you, just like I mute other people. Fucking stop it. Have some fucking decorum.
It's fine. I just want the answer from J-Rob.
Yeah, just allow it from
I have a reason for asking him to not interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody, but anyways, so there's a reason. So we were talking about expectations, right? I have a reason to expect tomorrow to be just the same as it was today. So again, that's the context in which I'm saying, hey, we don't expect change in the uniformity of nature, right?
Wait, no, but
in context, we're speaking about tomorrow being the same as today. Now, when with regards to the question that was like when we were talking about, I didn't say that we don't expect things to ever change, right? You were asking me, right? Does it guarantee that everything will always be the same? That was the question, the guarantee, and I'm like, well, no, we don't believe that everything is always going to be the same. Nature is always going to be the same.
Wait, hold on, J-Rob. Literally 2,000 years ago, right? A Jew in Egypt who was a slave could literally say, given that we believe in the Christian God, we expect things to always stay the same. And the next thing you know, they see some random man splitting the Red Sea and defying the laws of physics and like the natural earth laws. And like that's an example of literally breaking the uniformity of typically how these laws operate.
No, so again,
don't forget the column of fire.
Yeah, and then there's also like the column of fire.
Okay. All right, if you guys are done. So there's no breaking in the uniformity of nature, right? Nature is still going to act the same, right? But when there's a supernatural agent, right, these things are not bound by what is natural. So that's not saying that that's not saying that there's a change in nature or there's a breakage of nature. That's just saying that there's a supernatural agent acting on nature.
Okay, here, Gerald. Let me
Nature is still
magic.
clarify this. Let me try and clarify.
the nature is still working, right? Nature is still working as it normally operates.
I'm going to show you how it won't.
It's just there's a supernatural force.
I'm going to show you how it isn't.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how it isn't, okay? You agree that there's a distinction between supernatural and natural, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, would you agree that like the main distinction is that natural laws or natural things are bound by natural laws and supernatural laws are not bound by any of those laws, right?
Okay.
You agree with that?
Right.
Okay, so when we have something like the Red Sea, right, and by uniformity of nature, by uniformity, you just meant order, because I asked you earlier, right, and you said, yeah, just something like order, right? And I'm assuming by order of nature, you're just, indexing that, or when you say that term, you're just pointing at like these quote unquote natural laws that which natural things abide to, right?
Okay.
Okay, so when you have something like the Red Sea, right, obviously water doesn't just naturally start to float up in the air and split apart, right? It doesn't happen naturally. For that to occur, it would need to break the laws of nature, right?
No. So
it would not need to break the laws of nature?
It wouldn't break the laws of nature. Just the supernatural is going to be something that, again, the laws of nature aren't. Or, sorry, the supernatural. Huh?
I agree with what you're about to say.
Wait, J-Rob, no, like, bro.
I agree with what you're about to say. What I am saying, J-Rob, right, is that we agree that these supernatural entities, right, don't have to conform to these natural laws, right? But when these supernatural entities do some cause against something natural, right? Like the water, right? Like when Moses, right? Let's just say his staff is the supernatural entity. When the staff starts to move upon the water, right? And the water is natural and the staff is supernatural, right? The water abides to these natural laws. And for it to break it, it would break the order that which it comports to, right? So when the supernatural goes against the natural, there's some break in the uniformity of nature there, right?
I don't. You're not seeing how I'm explaining it, right?
The water breaks the uniformity of nature.
What I'm explaining is that let's say, okay, let's say that let's say there's a supernatural like hand that's just kind of like touching the water and moving it around.
Just use the staff in the water for simplicity.
Huh?
Just use the staff in the water for simplicity.
The staff in the water.
Yeah, the example that I just gave. Just make it analogous.
No. Just like this. Like. All right. What if I stuck my hand in some water and pulled up some water? Right. I got like a puddle of water in my hand. Right. Did I just like break the laws of nature?
No. You are
okay. Beautiful.
Yourself. So, you yourself are a natural entity.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Yes or no? You said no. Okay. So now there's a supernatural agent that has a bigger hand than me. And he sticks his hand in the water, right? Then, like, he didn't break the laws of nature. Just the laws of nature don't apply to him.
He would be right.
No, the water is still water. The water has just now been moved by a supernatural agent.
He would be breaking them because he doesn't conform to them. Right.
He himself doesn't.
This is where the confusion.
No, I'm saying he himself doesn't conform to the laws of nature, but the water itself, it's still water.
Go ahead, Cage.
It's just been moved.
You could just formalize what J-Rob's saying to something like, for all natural entities, they will abide by the natural laws. Supernatural entities are not natural, so they don't have to abide by it. So it's not a break in the uniformity of nature, because nature's still applying to all that which it applies to. It's just a supernatural thing, not the type of thing that it applies to. He's trying to get around it by saying, look, this thing, this being, Moses' staff, whatever the fuck, right? Oh, that's that type of thing that doesn't apply to the laws. So it's not a break in the laws. It's just this thing doesn't apply.
To be honest, like I think Bell was saying something like really smart. And this might be what J-Rob was arguing. Wait, hold on. This might be what J-Rob was arguing the entire time. But I think Jarob is probably arguing that like we can expect uniformity outside of God intervening all the time.
No, but that's what we're like trying to establish. Like, Cage, tell me if I'm wrong here. Would there not be some break in natural law, right? When water starts to, move up in the air, right, with nothing like holding it other than, and the reason it's doing it is because of some supernatural entity.
You're saying that there's
Like water,
nothing
like
holding
the water
it up.
isn't.
No,
The water
there's
is not
something holding it up.
The water is not comporting to gravity here, right? Because of the supernatural entity. Is that not
Cosmic,
a break in the natural law?
The way
you said that there's nothing holding it up. There is something holding the water up. A supernatural agent is holding the water up. So there's nothing. There's no law being broken, right? Because the water is still water. It's still moving. It's still moving, right? There's just a supernatural agent that's holding the water up. So
Someone has an echo.
So the water is not now somehow breaking the laws of nature, right? No, it's just that there's a supernatural agent that is moving the water, just like a natural agent could move the water in certain ways, right? But a supernatural agent is now, moving the water.
Here, take the
So
Earth
we should be
example
able
that Dwight gave, right? When Dwight was talking about the Earth stopping its rotation, that would have catastrophic effects on life on Earth, right? Just for the Earth as a whole, right? Like, I'm sure that Dwight can tell you 1,000 things that would occur, right? When God's hand, right, grabs the Earth when it's spinning and just stops it spinning, and nothing on the Earth changes, right? Is the Earth not breaking some laws of nature there?
No. So,
am I stupid here or what?
Oh my God. So look, if let's say that there was a giant, let's say there's an alien out there that is bigger than planets. And let's say the alien was able to grab the Earth like it's a spinning ball, like it's a freaking, basketball or something, right? He's still able to like manipulate the Earth in various ways that it's still acting according to nature. It's just being.
I stipulated.
I'm not moving any goalposts because
I stipulated though that nothing occurs on the Earth.
You moved the goalposts because
that there are no catastrophic events on the Earth.
Oh my God! So look how nobody's being
listening.
muted. Look how nobody's being muted. It's very funny.
Listen, yeah, I'm
very funny. Thank
Are
you.
we able to calculate the force that
Yeah,
God...
I'm going to mute everybody
Of
here
course.
for a second.
Oh, yeah, we all get muted.
I'm going to
Let
mute
them on
everybody
speak.
here for a fucking second. Fucking talk one at a time. I'm about to lose my patience.
He's misunderstanding the stipulation that I added.
Wait, well, I don't know, bro. This is a bit confused. I would just say, Jared would just say, the uniformity of nature, continues to operate under Christianity outside of God's intervention. And God just, comes in every now and then and, intervenes.
I mean, yeah, honestly, Bree made it so much easier. There you go.
Well,
Hold on, the stipulation.
Suppose you agree to this, right? Suppose for some odd reason that you accept this. Well, it seems like God is not distinct from this Marvel character called Galaxus, right? Like, he just seems not supernatural anymore. If you're just saying, look, there's this invisible hand that's acting in a way that my hand would act if my hand was that big, such that, it's not distinct in any type of way. It just seems like now we can question, this weird distinction that seems to be made, arbitrarily.
Yeah, and the thing that would make it distinct, right, is the fact that there are no catastrophic events going on Earth. Because if the alien were to do that, then the Earth would just crumble into dust, right? Everything would either just.
No, that's not true. We could use just like how we can use tech.
Everything. Hold on, I gotta call. Everything would just crumble on Earth, right? Just ask for Dwight. I'm sure Dwight has more knowledge on fucking physics and shit than I do, right? If the alien were to grab Earth and use it like LeBron James, right? Then the Earth would just cease to fucking exist. Everything on Earth would just cease to exist, right? It would just fucking crumble and die. But when God does it, right, nothing crumbles and dies, right? So that's where the laws of nature are being broken there, right? So, Cage, tell me if I'm fucking R-worded or something. Is that not some natural entity not comporting to the natural laws?
Wait, talking about cosmic. No. So just like now we have technology and we're like, I mean, they're doing studies on how to like reverse certain types of like aging or something like that. Like, so just because, you know, this alien, right? Like he could have technology where he could keep things intact that we just don't know about.
If you stop the Earth from
But
spinning,
then,
we'd all go
but
flying
then
to the
what
nearest
makes God
object
distinct from a
500
natural
miles
Oh
fucking
my
an hour.
gosh,
entity?
just like
Wait, what
like
makes
We
God
had
distinct
a
from a natural
fucking
entity then?
time.
What makes God distinct? What makes God distinct to a natural entity?
huh?
What makes God distinct to a natural entity if the alien can do the same shit that God
I
does?
didn't say that. There, like obviously, we don't know of any alien that could do anything. But
Oh, so now we don't know about the alien. Oh, okay.
to
What is this?
oh my God, can you relax? Two, the alien is still bound by nature, whereas God isn't
In what sense?
bound by nature.
In what sense?
In
Because
this,
if the
in the
alien
sense,
can
in the
grab the
sense
Earth
that
and
just
nothing
because
happen
you
on Earth,
might have some technology that's more advanced than ours, doesn't mean that you still aren't bound by nature.
wait, but if I can stipulate for any action that God can do, a fucking alien with technology can do, what's the distinction?
Yeah, a freaking alien can't freaking cause the universe to freaking.
How do you know that? Rick Sanchez can make a fucking mini universe. An alien can't.
An alien can't cause the universe to disappear. What are you talking about?
An alien can't cause a universe that he created to disappear.
He didn't. An alien can't create a universe.
Oh wait, but what if he has some super secret technology that he got from Shield, right? That they can make universes.
Dog, I don't know. How are you defining alien then, man? Like, what are you talking about?
There's no distinction here. You stipulate
Yes, there is. Like,
well,
what
the
are you talking
alien
about?
has some technology
An alien
that he
is
can grab the
something
Earth and nothing
that-
happens.
that-
Then there's no distinction.
an alien is
There's no
something.
symmetry breaker.
An alien is something that is a part of this universe. So how can an alien be outside of the universe? What are you talking about?
What fuck? This is so fucking stupid, bro.
Are you serious?
This is the stupidest.
Look, I just want to say it's been hilarious to watch J Rob reduce God to something that I've heard atheists use to stalking horse the very thing that he objects to in those conversations. But look, I mean, J Rob, you said
I mean, you guys aren't dealing with the argument.
suppose that God has a hand, and this hand grabs the earth, and God also with his other hand, because he's two, make sure that everything on earth, kind of keeps spinning like, a globetrotter with the basketball on his finger, something like that. That seems no different than something I could get Rip Stanley, to create in his head and make a comic book in 2026. That seems, those two things just don't seem distinct at all.
Yeah. I love how anybody actually dealt with the argument. They're trying to now talk about aliens, whereas I'm using this as an analogy so you can actually engage with the argument. And oh my gosh, look at that. He's not muted.
Helping you.
He's not muted.
You're
Wow, look at that.
Wait.
Surprisingly, he's not muted.
Let J-Rob talk.
Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Guys are not predictable at all. But yeah, so instead of actually engaging with the argument, right? Because what we're talking about is breaking nature, right? Look how we shifted again now. We shifted to talking about aliens and how God is distinct from an alien. It's crazy how these arguments keep shifting as you guys not actually engage with my argument. But can we please get back to the argument? So again, right? If if a force acts upon nature, right? The nature is not being changed, right? The nature is still acting according to nature, right? Just a external force is acting upon the nature. You guys have yet to show how the natural or the nature is being broken. It hasn't been broken. It's just being acted upon. Can you please do it?
Hold on, J-Rob.
Sorry, my bad.
Go ahead, Gage. No, you're good.
Look, I was just going to clear up why what it is, because it seems like you're confusing while we're talking about that. The reason, because at the start, we had a very clear distinction of what natural and not natural was, supernatural and natural. Right? We had the very clear waters here. We knew what natural things could do, right? Like water doesn't naturally rise up into the sky. Something, you said that something we need to hold it. And then you gave this analogy about the hand picking up the water. In the same way, you said God's hand does it, just supernaturally. And we played along until Seb stipulated a hypothetical where that type of thing wouldn't have saved you. Right? And then, I said, very touch and cheekly, well, suppose you accept that type of, suppose that that's a fine natural event. if you want to call it that, so you can keep up the charade that it is. Suppose that you accept that. Well, now it's just entirely unclear what's meant by natural and supernatural. And when I asked you furthermore, you said, well, suppose God was out there with his hand grabbing the earth. Well, then I sort of again made a touch-in-cheek joke about Marvel characters, because unironically, what you're talking about is done by Marvel characters that I'm sure you wouldn't consider God. So the reason why we've moved to this point is because you sort of like Jackie Chan the waters, where you've like put your hand in it, rubbed it around, made it so blurry that none of us can see what it is that natural is and not natural is. So we can't pose a hypothetical anymore. It's not useful.
So I'm not sure how any of that addressed the argument.
I don't think
where did he go
it,
from
he
there?
didn't understand any what just was said now.
Wait, yeah,
Because
did not
they're going to
understand what he
decipher.
Here, I'll show you how it addresses the argument.
All he did
right?
was
Because the main thing
talk
your
about
argument,
why he
I'll show
shifted.
you how it addresses.
He keeps shifting like you guys been doing. Can you
I'll
now
show you
address
how
the
it addresses
argument?
yeah, I'll show you how that addressed the argument, right? Because one of the main things about the argument, right, is this sort of distinction between natural and supernatural, and how God is a supernatural entity, right, that is causally efficacious, or that can cause things to natural entities without breaking the uniformity of nature, right? But a very pinnacle thing about this view is the distinction between supernatural and natural, right? And given the hypotheticals that I've been telling you, right, with all the hypotheticals I've been telling you, there is no distinction. We don't know the distinction, because first we had one, but then we just reduced down, we've reduced God, how fucking Cage said, to just Galactus, right? God is just invisible Galactus. There's no distinction.
So how is this addressing whether or not there was a break in nature?
You don't have a symmetry breaker.
Wait, so you're saying are you now conceding that there is no
your argument?
So are you now conceding that there is no break in nature?
I don't know what. I don't know.
Oh my gosh! Can y'all address the argument? My goodness, why is it so hard for y'all? Address the argument.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I can't address the argument because it's entirely unclear to me
Okay.
what natural is and what's supernatural. But if you just take my understanding as it is now, it seems like the atheist can just posit an invisible Galactus or a whole Marvel universe of characters.
Okay. All right.
I don't think you generally understand.
All
what
right,
they
I'll
said.
just take it as a concession that you guys can't engage.
No,
So,
Gerald, I don't think you understand that we have no understanding what you mean by breaking of natural.
yeah, there is none. Thank you. What the hell?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right, then in what sense? Then what does the theist have that the atheist doesn't? Right? If everything is natural, right? If there's no symmetry breaker here, right? And then
Who said everything is natural?
Wait, because you don't have a symmetry breaker, right? So let's just say that everything, because we don't know what you mean by supernatural. We don't know the distinction because we don't know what either of them are, right? Because if we've reduced God to just be a natural entity, right, then you're just agreeing with the fucking naturalist.
God is a natural. Oh my gosh, y'all are
Have you not been
I mean, y'all are so much smarter. I know you guys are, but you guys have these emotional I don't know, just disposition to not even track intentionally sometimes.
If there's no
If I
distinction
say that
between
God is a supernatural agent,
you don't know what you mean by that,
right?
We don't know
If I say that God is a supernatural agent,
what you
you don't know what
say
that
that.
means now. Oh my gosh.
No, we don't This
This is
you
what
gave a
supernatural
distinction.
agent means.
You
Cosmic.
gave a distinction, right? You agreed with my distinction of supernatural and natural.
I mean, these
and then
bros be
we've
so
reduced
smart until they
down.
actually
We've reduced
engage.
God to just a
Right,
natural entity.
until they're actually pressed to. I'm the one that gets muted.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
both fucking. No, shut the fuck up.
Well,
You're both talking over each other, and I'm getting sick of it.
he
The
has
next time this fucking happens, I'm gonna drop people.
he has
Do you
a,
understand?
well, yeah, Plum, he has a point to an extent. We've been muting J-Rob, but we haven't muted any of the atheists.
I just muted Cosmic. I just muted both of them.
Well, yeah, there was
I muted both Cosmic and J-Rob because they were both talking over each other, and I've asked them both to fucking stop.
yeah, but
I mean, I'm the one. If I'm the one talking, why am I supposed to stop talking if somebody interrupts me? I don't see how
Because
that even.
because people are talking over each other. The whole thing is that I don't want you guys talking over each other. So fucking stop it.
So why don't
The
you mute
next
the
time
person?
the next time it happens, I'm going to start dropping people. I'm getting really sick of having to repeat myself.
I'm just saying,
Now
why
you
don't
can
mute the
continue.
person?
You can continue, but you need to fucking stop.
Yeah, I'm just saying we
You
should just
and
mute.
Cosmic.
Yeah, I'm just saying we should mute the person that's like not supposed to be talking. But whatever, it's y'all live.
Can stop the fucking
So
whining about the meta. Just continue and stop
I'm not
over-talking each
whining.
other.
That was
Hold on.
actually just a
So basically,
suggestion.
like, okay, so let's just get back to it, right? So basically, like,
Yeah.
we're asking for a distinction, right? There's going to be like laws of nature or laws of physics or whatever, right? And like, there are going to be things that happen in the natural world, and then God is like supernatural, so he's like beyond that.
Yeah, it's very simple. God is supernatural. Like I don't get why I gotta break this down. These are freaking Phil bros, so smart. Like if God is not bound by nature, right? He is outside of these natural laws, right? So he can act like he can act on nature. Where like let's say if excuse me we're talking about this water, right? So this water is naturally flowing, and then he can act on nature where he can, like just to like, and I'm trying to say this stuff so you guys can conceptualize it, right? So I'm trying to make it easier for y'all, but then y'all go so freaking deep into stuff that it's just like, yo, how are y'all like this? If God stuck an invisible block right in the middle of the sea, in our minds we're going to be like, oh wow, it's a miracle, the water is supernaturally moving. Like, yeah, I mean technically it is, right? But the supernatural thing that we can observe is what is causing the natural things to uplift. So, like, I don't get why aren't you guys tracking or understanding the distinction here, right? There's a supernatural thing that is acting against the natural things. The natural things are still natural, and they're still bound by nature. There's just a supernatural thing that is causing those natural things to operate in the way that they are.
Cage, addressing.
Okay, let's let other people have a chance to talk now.
Okay, Cosmic. So given that, like,
I need to grab something really quick. I can't listen.
okay, what would your contention with that be?
I think existential had,
Look, okay, so suppose that we agree that the conceptualization that you're giving, right, this analogy is not literal, and that God doesn't literally take his hand, and that he does some other Jedi mind tricks. Okay, that can be stalking horsed by Mr. Invisible Galactus that I've created, which means the atheist can also account for it. So that doesn't solve the original point. But furthermore to what you had said, right? You even said it, right? Technically, the water is moving supernaturally, which I'm not going to get you on a technicality there, although you did say it, which means what we were talking about for 20 minutes, where you said we were strawmanning you. It seems like we weren't, but so those two things, right? And then the last thing I have to say about that is, well, why would anybody believe that just on bare theism alone? Or why would anybody believe that with theism plus Christianity when there have been no, tenable miracles that apologists have taken up in arms and used for their apologetics in 800, 900 years?
I'd expect God to allow people to stalking horse object to every argument there is.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, that's what I'm saying. Y'all narrow in on one thing I say and take it to a freaking extreme level, right? When I said, hey, yeah, technically it's moving supernaturally, the only thing that was meant by that was that there is a supernatural force that is causing the waters to flow in a particular way. Now they're still flowing, right? So it means that they're still natural, right? The waters are not now supernatural waters. No, the waters are still water, but they're being imposed on by a supernatural thing. So the laws of nature still apply to natural things. And I don't get where are we at, right? The laws of nature have not been broken. There's just a supernatural thing that is not bound by the laws of nature that are acting upon the things that are bound by the laws of nature. Like, what are we doing? Can we move on, or do y'all still think that the laws of nature are being broke? What are we doing?
Yo, J-Rob, so then what you're saying is basically like simulation theory, right? Everything in the simulation is natural, and then everything outside the simulation is supernatural, like a video game designer using an avatar in a video game.
I mean, I don't get into simulation theory, but
I mean, that's basically what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, look, it turns out that Dwight was right? Dwight doesn't need, for his like little point that he was making this whole time, Dwight didn't need to say that there was some change in the nature's water. He needed was for you to say what you just said, which is that the water is acting in lieu of a supernatural force, not a natural one. So it turns out, Dwight, you were correct. I'm sorry, sorry for gaslighting you, Dwight, but it turns out you were right.
yeah, again, how does that address what I said?
Just then, holy shit.
The address what you said, because the original point, J-Rob, was that theism, there's reason to expect uniformity, but turns out what you just said was that, look, the theist can't account for these small little breaks in movement, right? Breaks in uniform motion that's in lieu of the natural laws, because there will be times where the supernatural force will act upon the waters such that they move supernaturally. It's by your own admission that you just said.
They would violate the natural law.
Well, what you guys are talking about is
there is no violation of the natural law.
They would violate in lieu of the supernatural entity.
There's no violation of the natural law, which is what you guys have been arguing, and I refuted that. So you're just saying
No.
There's no reason to. Wait, what?
So I get what they're saying. Basically, like given the supernatural, like the natural laws are going to be violated at times, because you literally omitted that, like, sometimes
No, the laws of nature aren't being violated.
Well, yeah, because normally water doesn't split like the Red Sea, right? But like God allows for like a breakage in the laws of nature in order to accomplish.
No. So normally water, if it's acted upon, it'll move, right? So the water is being acted upon by a supernatural agent, causing it to move. There's no breakage. There's no violation of any law in nature. Like, what are y'all talking about? I don't get why. I don't get why this is so
natural
hard.
and supernatural. If you go,
I don't get why this is so hard for y'all.
then there would be no distinction between the natural and supernatural. If you want to use that analogy,
There is a difference between the natural agent and the supernatural agent. Like,
J-Rob, if for any supernatural event that occurs, I can just stalking horse it
Yeah,
with an invisible
hang on a
alien,
second.
then there would be no
J-Rob, we're not going to do
supernatural.
them. Hang on.
I got muted.
J-Rob, we're not going to do the mocking tones here.
No, it's fine. I'm fine with rhetoric. I don't care.
No, it doesn't really matter. Yeah,
I
just
am
like-
not.
I'm just showing that there would be no distinction, right? Because for any supernatural event, if I can just stalking horse it with a natural one, right, then I'm accounting for the very things that you said naturalism cannot, and then you have no symmetry breaker between the supernatural events and the natural ones.
Wait, say it again.
I said that for any supernatural event that occurs, if I'm able to just stalking horse it, right, with a natural thing, then
What do you mean stalking horse? What do you mean stalking
horse? I just mean provide an explanation that accounts for the same data, right? If I can do that, if I can provide a natural explanation that accounts for the same event that you're saying the supernatural explanation explains, or the supernatural explanation accounts for, right? Then one, you have no distinction.
Wait.
And then what sense is God's
So how can you stalking horse or whatever? The splitting of the Red Sea.
Splitting of the Red Sea. Galactus, invisible Galactus comes by and says, "Fuck it, I'm kind of thirsty," and he puts a big old straw in the middle and then starts sucking it, and then there's some vortex created by him sucking the Red Sea.
Invisible Galactus.
He's just saying aliens to J-Rob. He's just saying
Okay, so he's just appealing to aliens. All right.
Yes.
I mean,
you did it. You brought in.
is that in your worldview? You believe in aliens?
Charles, yeah, I believe that aliens exist.
All right. Like
Here it
if you look, I take that as a W when atheists have to reduce to stuff that they don't
You
even
brought
believe.
it up.
If I could finish, when
And I do believe in aliens.
I'm not
That's the
done
right
talking.
response,
Notice
Gerald.
he's
Wait,
not
wait,
getting muted.
Jerob's not finished. Let him
Like,
finish.
I
Notice he's
take
not
that as
getting
a
muted.
W.
Yeah,
when
go
you
go
have to
ahead.
resort
Go
to
ahead and
aliens.
finish.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your
Go
point.
ahead, finish.
Yeah, I take it as a W when atheists have to go outside of their own beliefs to try to defend or attack an argument or something. So, I mean, if you want to, just call everything that is supernatural an alien, I mean, you can live your life like that. That's fine.
Wait,
But
Jerob,
No,
guess-
just like J-Rob, honestly, just let them, right? We're confident in our
The point is there's no
position
distinction.
to where it's like, if they're going to resort to aliens doing it, like, fine.
The
right?
point
We're
is,
confident of our
let's just say
position.
that I'm some dishonest prick, right? And I'm saying that I don't believe any of the things that I'm talking
Granted.
about right now, right? But then, what would be your response, right? What's your distinction between Galactus and God? What's the distinction?
There is no response, Cosmic. There is no response.
Okay,
But
well then, in what sense is God fucking supernatural, Brooke?
in what sense is God supernatural?
If there's no distinction, then in what sense is God different than Invisible Galactus? We've reduced your God to a fucking Marvel character here. In what sense is he different?
Yeah, we have no evidence of any of that outside of your just like your stupid imagination.
Oh, that's not true.
Just
Look,
fucking-
now we're just missing the point. The point that, and by the way,
Wait.
you
So
need not
where
be
does
I
Incident
don't-
Galactus
okay.
come from? Where does this idea?
Wait, Cage is talking. Hold up. Go ahead, Cage.
Yeah. Thanks. The point, right? The point is that, by the way, an atheist need not be a naturalist. Like, you have people like me, J-Rob, which, I mean, we won't talk about that. But the point was that if the evidence can be expected under Invisible Galactus hypothesis, and there's no evidence that uniquely picks out the Christian theistic God, and your response is, I have no response, Mr. Atheist. I'm fine with you saying that for all evidence that exists, it's perfectly accounted for and expected by, not just accommodated by the Invisible Galactus, then, I mean, the concepts seem irreducibly identical. But you don't want to say it's irreducibly identical, but if that's where you want to leave it off at.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem leaving it off. Like, I know this is a discussion between y'all and J-Rob, but even if this can be stalking horse or whatever, I suspect that's like, I don't really care. I don't, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'd have to have reason to believe in this thing. And when I guarantee you, when I get down to the nitty gritty, this is just him. Like he said, he already said I could be a stupid prick or whatever and posit this thing, this weird alien thing. And that's what it would come down to, right? It's just your imagination coming up with some stupid idea and anything to avoid, the obvious.
Can you please stop calling things stupid? It's ableist.
Well, no, there's some stupid things which he even said it was stupid. So I don't get why I'm getting interrupted.
I'm telling you to stop using that word. It's
Yeah, why didn't you tell him when he said?
I'm
getting
telling
muted again.
everybody to fucking stop.
Of course, I'm.
Wait, Plum. Let's be honest, bro. Like, Cage and everybody has been saying, like, stupid this entire time. And, like, we only piped
I know,
up
and I'm
and-
asking everybody to stop.
Oh yeah, of course. When I'm talking,
I'm asking everybody to stop.
Yeah, of
but
course.
J-Rob is
once I do
whining
something,
because and talking over me. J-Rob's whining
talking.
because I waited until according to him, I waited until he was talking. No, I would like people to please stop using the word stupid.
Okay,
but that's not according to me.
Ableist
If God
and
exists, I don't expect some
it's
philosophical
ableist.
The point is,
That's not according to me. That's what happens.
The point is that if J-Rob accepts the stalking horse, right, then we've done our job to reduce his belief to fucking Marvel characters.
No, that's not true, Cosmic.
No.
That's an incomplete equation. First, if he accepts that, for all evidence, that evidence doesn't uniquely pick out one or the other and it's compatible and expected under both hypotheses, there's further work to be done. You can do parsimony equations and say, look, which one is more parsimonious? And the naturalist wins out.
Oh, well, would you look at that? There's actually better evidence to believe in fucking Galactus.
You haven't given any evidence. You haven't given any evidence. You just made a claim.
I don't think you listened. The evidence, J-Rob, that you clearly missed was it. I
No,
said, if you agree, because Brooke said this. This might not be you, but Brooke said
no.
he's fine with saying that they're the same thing. But the evidence was that for all evidence there is of Christianity, if a successful stalking horse with invisible Galactus has been performed, all of that evidence doesn't uniquely pick out either or. Meaning, for all Christian evidence, that's evidence of invisible Galactus, which Brooke said he's fine with saying. Now, if Brooke's fine with saying that, that would then lead to a further equation. Further calculus must be done, which is, okay, well, which belief should we hold? One of these beliefs has me commit to supernatural things and a lot of theological stuff and blah, 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 blah. Or you just commit to another natural alien that just happens to look like Galactus from Marvel.
Yeah, again, you haven't given any evidence or reason to believe that. Again, I said, when you get down to it, it's just simply going to be him coming up with some random bull crap from Marvel. So it's just like, okay, bro, like
Sure.
this is what you have to do to try to. Oh my God! Look, he's not muted too. That's so funny, interesting. So, like I was saying, like the evidence points to the Christian God, and he's just gonna say, well, I could posit this, right? Well, where is this coming from? Oh, I'm just being stupid. I'm just getting some random stuff from Marvel and just positing it without any actual evidence, right? So I don't. Like I said, I take it as a W. Y'all say what y'all want. I'm done with this crap.
What W was taken here?
J-Rob, don't.
Also, I really only joined because I heard that J-Rob was running tag. I really wanted to see,
No, he wasn't. I joined too because I thought J-Rob was running tag, but it was like something different. But like, at that
is
point,
Russell still in the comments? Russell, fucking hop on the panel, buddy.
Wait, is that Rob? Hold the fucking phone. Rob, where have you been?
What's up, people? Coco, man. How have you been, man?
What's up, Rob?
Oh my God. It's been so long.
Oh God, you be doing like political lives.
I know. Are you still a radical atheist or agnostic?
I'm an agnostic, yeah.
That's right, agnostic.
Let's go. But
That's crazy.
I fuck heavy with Rob. Rob is hella cool.
I'm a radical atheist.
I saw you were live. Well, actually, yeah, I didn't see you were live and go joined it, but I joined it, or I saw swiped, and I was like, oh my God, this is Coco. But yeah,
I've seen Robin the last 2 years.
Rob, do you know how much crazy shit I've done? I literally hosted like a debate with Ryan Mullins and Dr. Krishna, and that was pretty lit. Like a PhD atheist and a PhD Christian, and then
I've heard of Mullins.
Yeah, and then I hosted a live with Mike Burgundy versus this creator named Edna on Trans Women Are Women, and that was pretty lit. There was like 800 people in here, and I made $100 that night. We've been killing it.
Amazing. That's awesome, man.
Wait, before we go,
you also
I think
hosted a debate between Ian and.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Rob was around for that. I hosted
Ian.
Coco.
Ian doesn't. Coco, you know more than Ian on theology, bro. Ian doesn't know anything on theology, bro.
I mean, I don't know. Ian's a pretty good debater, so I don't want to say I'm better.
He's good at philosophy. He's terrible at the Bible. I think you know more than him on the Bible. I don't even think he knows the minimal witnesses argument.
Wait, so Coco, let's just make sure that we understand. We understand that uniformity is but expected on the theistic and atheistic view. I think we've somehow got there in a weird way because J-Rob conceded. I think that it's natural, right? There's no true distinction between natural and supernatural. Somehow.
Oh wow! Here we go.
So we can now just so the atheists can now just give us
the straw man again.
The stalking horse. And then we can just give some explanation for the.
So because y'all can't track, y'all make these dumb claims.
We already
I've already defined supernatural. But now they're saying that there's no distinction because they can't track. It's so funny how y'all are, bro.
We know, J-Rob. So basically, J-Rob, you said that there are natural laws, but then whenever God intervenes with them, that doesn't mean he's breaking the natural laws. It actually like coincides with the natural laws. So like there's no distinction between supernatural and natural. It's all just natural. It's like the atheist.
No, that's not what I said. God is supernatural, right? So as a supernatural entity, he's not bound by natural laws, but he could act on those natural laws. There's a clear symmetry breaker here. I don't get how you're not tracking.
Wait, God can act on the natural laws by like stopping how they usually act, right?
Not the natural laws. He's not bound by the natural laws. So gravity is not going to pull him down, but he can pull things up, right?
When he does that, he's messing with the natural laws, right?
No, I kind of feel like I get what J. Rob is saying. Like if you have a cup of water in front of you, you're going to expect that unless you pour it or somebody else moves a cup of water, it's not going to move. But I think he's saying like God can move these things in ways that we can't.
Yeah,
so he's not necessarily like breaking any natural law.
Well, yeah, but like in order for God to like so essentially, okay, so think about it like this, right? So let's say the law of physics, right? Like you have bread and fish, and like normally you can't create something out of nothing according to the law of thermodynamics. But then Jesus comes down and he recreates the molecular structure of bread and fish to feed thousands of people. He takes 2 loaves of bread and a couple fish, and he's able to produce a shit ton more of them and feed like tons of people. So for a second,
that's not creating something out of nothing. That's duplicating what's already there. So it's not necessarily like creating something out of nothing.
Yeah, but how? Like normally, like the laws of physics wouldn't allow for that, to take like bread and miraculously make more bread to feed thousands.
I feel you. I mean, I already told you how I feel about it. I feel like we expect uniformity outside of God's intervention, but I was trying to get where J-Rob's coming from because I like J-Rob.
Right. I think. Wait.
Sorry, I missed your definition of supernatural. Could you go over that again?
It just means transcending or not bound by natural laws.
And how would you make the distinction between a natural and supernatural law?
How would I make the distinction between natural and supernatural?
Yeah, how would you know whether one's a supernatural or a natural law?
Because it's going against nature.
Or how would you know without knowing all of nature?
Without knowing all, I mean, what we do know about nature?
Yeah, so there are things outside of our knowledge of nature that may seem like they're supernatural, but they're in fact natural.
Okay. So what's your point?
Well, I think the point's made.
So now this is more of an epistemic issue. It's not. You're like whatever is supernatural would still just not be bound by natural laws. Now, if there is something that is still acting according of nature, then it just wouldn't be supernatural. Somebody might think it's supernatural, but it's not.
Well, if you're labeling it as supernatural, I think the point's already been made by many previously, that if you're just labeling it as supernatural even though it's natural, then that doesn't give us any.
I'm not doing that. I'm saying something that is supernatural.
You're making a claim that you're able to make the distinction between supernatural and natural, and I'm contending that you cannot make that claim.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can. You're just appealing to like, okay, it's possible that it whatever is supernatural or whatever seems to be supernatural, it could be natural. It just might appear to be supernatural. That's all you're saying. You're not saying that whether or not there is a distinction.
Are you not following? I mean,
that's what you just said.
In order for you to make a supernatural claim, that you're able to identify what supernatural is, then you'd have to be able to make the distinction between what is natural. It's not a case of on average or anything like that. It's not a statistical difference. It is you're basically saying that there are things that are supernatural that exist beyond what we know to be natural. So in order for you to be able to claim that, you'd then have to be able to say, so this is something that is supernatural and this is something that is natural. But we've only got knowledge of things that are natural. We've only seen things that are natural.
You're shifting the argument to, some type of epistemic issue of whether or not we can actually know if something is supernatural versus it being natural, which...
No, you've made...
basically what you're trying to do...
I'm not making the claim. You said that you would be able to tell the difference.
He's not even being muted. Funny. Basically, what you're doing is just trying to argue of a science of the gaps. If Jesus resurrected from the grave, you're saying, how do we not know that he could have did it naturally? Which, that's science of the gaps.
Well, no, it's not. I'm just saying that you've made a claim.
What the fuck is science of the gaps?
Wait, I have a question. Are you asking what's the difference between natural and supernatural?
I asked first, really quick, what the fuck is science of the gaps?
Yeah, saying that, because I've already gave the distinction between something that's natural and something that's supernatural. And let's say rising from the grave, I'm saying that that's a supernatural thing. And he's saying, there could be a naturalistic explanation. We just don't know. Right? So
there could be that, but science of the gaps is not a thing.
Then she can't.
No, I let you fucking talk. I'm trying to tell you, science of the gaps is not a thing.
Okay.
Science of the gaps is not a thing that exists.
Okay, sure. I just explained.
Excuse me.
I just explained what it is.
Okay, I'm not done talking. You can stop talking.
And neither was I.
Yeah, to be fair to J-Rob, there wasn't none talking.
Okay, here's the thing. You can come back, J-Rob, but you're going to stop over-talking me, and you're going to stop over-talking people. Science of the gaps is not a thing. Science of the gaps is not a thing, though. That's obnoxiously obtuse, and he's making up terminology at this point. There's no such thing as science of the gaps. It is the whole thing with science is that we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, but trying to say that there is a naturalistic explanation, we just don't know what it is science of the gaps. I don't get what the problem is.
You are making up terminology. That's the problem.
I'm making up a terminology.
Stop making up terminology.
Okay.
There is no such thing as science of the gaps.
I get what you're saying. They're not.
I understand the point.
It's not science of the gaps, but I get what you're saying.
I understand the point. So let me just
in a long time.
let me just make the position clear, right? So in order for you to claim that there is something supernatural, you'd have to demonstrate that things can exist that don't have a natural explanation. So rather than the point that I'm trying to make about, well, it could have a natural explanation, I get your point, but in order to refute that point, you would have to then say, okay, well, here's something that only has a supernatural explanation, and you're not able to do that.
I mean, we could demonstrate how things can exist and not have a natural explanation. It's called logic, right? If there's no logical contradiction, then it's possible. So it's possible that there are agents that are not bound by naturalistic laws. Those things can act upon nature, and therefore making it supernatural. You said what?
Is that true for sound logic? You know,
Is that
for
true
a
for
sound argument.
sound logic?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
so
unless
for something
unless
to be true.
No, wait, no, logic. Unless and it's funny your name is Logic Troll or Logic Cat, right?
Yeah.
Right. You would have to show if you can't show that there is a I'm sorry, if you can't show that there's a contradiction or violates a law of logic, then it's possible.
Well, only if you take into account. So, do you think? So, presumably, you think laws of logic transcend our ability to use them. That you think that there's some kind of natural logical law.
Natural logical law?
Yeah, I would presume that for you to make that argument, that you think somehow that logic is a universal truth.
Yes.
Rather than just our ability
and
to
math.
describe the world logically.
And math. So you're saying that if humans didn't exist, two cars being aside each other wouldn't be two cars?
Correct.
Or two cars plus two cars. You're saying that wouldn't be true if we didn't exist?
Well, if humans didn't exist, there wouldn't be cars.
Okay, so
but
two
any object.
Wait, two planets would not equate two planets if we didn't exist.
No, correct.
Okay. What physicist would agree with you?
So do you know what anti-realism is?
No, what's that?
So anti-realism, realism is the idea that these things, like maths, have a real instantiation within the universe, whereas an anti-realism would say, or nominalism, for example, would say that these are just subjective labels that we apply in order to describe the universe.
Yeah, I think both are true. I think the logic and math exists outside of us, and we use math. Like, for example, 2 + 2 = 4, like the symbols associated with that, even if they were different symbols that we use to associate that, like the value would still be true.
Are you aware of how many ways you can make 2 + 2 equals not 4?
Yeah, give me examples of 2 + 2 not equaling 4.
Okay. Maybe before we go into that, I think I'm kind of curious about. Do you understand what like it means to not be a realist about numbers? Like what I think as the nominalists don't believe that numbers have like this ontic structure in reality. Do you understand what that means there?
No, I have no idea what he means by that.
Yeah, so we're saying it's going to be deflated down to language, right? It's going to be
right. I just said that, but I just addressed that. I said even if we did not use the symbols of 2 + 2 = 4, and we used a different symbol, like we use circles for 2, and then we use like I don't know a square to equal 4, it would still the value would still be the same.
Yeah. So so let's if no minds exist, will language still exist?
Yeah, I'm sure language would not exist.
Right. So if we deflate numbers and this descriptive.
Do you think that there's a difference between language and value? Like the value of numbers?
Yeah, I think minds give value.
Minds give value. So if humans did not exist, 2 + 2 would not equal 4, regardless of what symbols you use to describe.
Math is simply a language.
I agree that we are using a language to describe what we see, but what we're using to describe what we see already existed before we discovered it.
I'll agree with you that if no minds exist, right, there'll be like objects, and maybe there could be like some number of quantity of objects that exist, right? Those objects, like I don't believe like maybe there could be some people that could be like ontic nihilists. I don't know that they
crazy. You're not the first. You guys aren't the first ones to say that. Atheists believe that we created math. You guys genuinely believe we created math?
No,
I think there's a
definitely straw manning here.
Wait, that's
By
an
math, you simply mean a
I
language.
mean, that's literally what y'all saying.
No.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
literally what they're
Quiet
saying.
for a second.
Wait.
If you're simply saying math as a language that refers to reality, sure. But the reference of that, the objects, right, that which exists, that which we are using language to describe, they are not dependent on our mind. So no, these so like it doesn't matter. Like it's crazy to say that math wouldn't exist. Like the reference of math, 2 + 2 as a fact as an expression of reality would still exist. So like I just think it's like that. It's you're anti-realist otherwise.
Like we don't think.
Well, it's not true. So
Rob,
Hang on. Let's go one at a time. Logic.
So there
I'm
are
agreeing with you, Belle.
numerous ways of which you can derive not 4 from 2 + 2.
Not if you mean the same thing.
Right. I mean, if you were
if you
to
hold
ask
the
me
same
on,
meaning to 2
on the
+
basis
2
of
equals 4, if you mean the same thing each time you say it, then no, it can't be logical. It can't be true in any possible world. Just like there can never be a square triangle in any possible world. As long as by a square you mean something with 4 sides, and a triangle is something with 3 sides.
I think the main point I'm trying to address, and before you get us into this other weird tangent, is just to say, hey, we can agree that like things have ontological structure in reality. Like I don't think I'm not like an idealist. At least I don't believe like I in my mind I'm not solid, so I don't believe things I determine like what's logical or stuff to exist. I believe things does exist independent of my mind,
and we describe it.
However, when it comes to like abstract like numbers and concepts like that, I don't believe like numbers are like have this like ontic structure that's floating around the universe. I think that's some it's a language. Those things are deflated down to language, right? So yeah, there could be objects in the universe, right? And as far as like what you mean by value, I'm not too sure there, because value, I don't believe like, for example, I don't believe if there's no minds, all of a sudden a rock has a value. You know, I'm not too sure. Like, I don't know, because value often wouldn't, like, I don't know how to define that word value, but like if there's no mind in the universe, what is a value? Well, I don't know what value means here.
So the problem with maths in this sense is identity. So for things to exist, they have to have some kind of identity. And when we look at, say, a rock in the universe, what are we counting? So an object of a rock in of itself is structurally made up of atoms. And those atoms are made up of things like gluons, and they're instantiated within fields and things. We don't have access to the entirety of reality to understand exactly what things. So a rock is a collection of atoms, and those atoms have some kind of relationship with each other. So when you're counting that rock as one, you're just labeling an object that is a collection of objects that is also a collection of objects. So how many objects is it in reality?
I don't
by identity. Never mind. I see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't understand like this. Belle, when you say value, what do you mean there? Maybe we could just get clarity. What do you mean by value?
The relationships between the objects, or I guess if you want to say the numbers, like the relationships, not the actual symbols that we're using. So not 2 + 2. Like again, even if we use like a square instead of the number, like the symbol 2, and we use a square, and we use like a circle to equal 4. Like those values, those relationships between those objects would still be true.
Oh, okay. So I think I understand what you're saying now.
When you say anything that
you Googled it,
must have an identity. What do you mean by identity?
So
I didn't use that.
Wait, Logic's trying to get in. Let Logic go.
So for things to have some sort of existence in the universe, they have to have some sort of identifiable aspect to them that can be attributed in an identity. We don't see that with numbers. They're an abstract. Something with identity is like the opposite of something that's abstractly kind of instantiated.
What's the issue with something existing that's not identifiable?
I don't think that's what Bell is saying. I think the way Bell defined that word value, I think all she means to say, and Bell, I don't want to strawman you, but all you mean when you say value is relations of two objects.
Yes.
I just don't see it being the case that just because something exists, it's identifiable.
Wait,
yeah. So with two things. So if you take two rocks, is there a relationship between those two rocks?
Because there's two rocks.
What's
yeah,
the
in some
relationship?
sense, it depends on what you mean by relationship.
So, I guess what does relation mean there?
That belong to the same category of identification.
Well, I guess, yeah.
What since they have a relationship? So, like,
do you not see how
they have a relationship?
No.
Yeah, right. But that's the point. That's the point. Is like if you take.
Well, I mean, even if we didn't have
one
the
rock.
Logic. Even if we didn't have a language to like describe the two rocks being there, there would still be two rocks there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, so if I took one rock and
that which we are referring to when we say a rock would still exist.
Yeah. So the point that I'm trying to make is that your grouping of those two rocks is something that is happening only in your mind. Nowhere else in the universe.
Okay, but you're not answering my question for what's the contradiction with something being and not being identifiable.
So what? Sorry, I don't understand your question.
Well, you said if something exists, it must have an identity, and then I said, "What do you mean by identity?" And then when I asked you what you meant by identity, you were just saying it has some identifiable characteristic, and I was like, "Well,
yeah.
What's the contradiction with something being and not having an identifiable characteristic?"
Sorry, I don't really fully understand your question.
So could
Can you
I
just break it down?
I think I'm following.
Yeah.
I think the problem would be if it lacks any identifiable characteristics, how do you know it's there?
Well, that's a different question. How I know it's there is a different question from whether or not that thing exists.
Yeah, because I think
well, I think that's like what I mean. Like if it has no characteristics, is that not like sort of the same thing as not existing?
No. You could still exist and not be, I think, identifiable. I think because what I'm understanding the conversation to be something like, because at least the way, what I understand Bell to be saying, because I don't think Bell is holding to like numbers existing in some kind of ontic abstract sense, right? I think what Bell is trying to tell me is when absent no minds, right? Absent no minds, you can still say absent no minds, if there are objects, right, there will be objects, and there could be some quantity of objects in this world absent no minds, and that is what she means when I think she's saying numbers exist, right, Bell? I don't want to put like two if absent no minds, there's two rocks exist, right?
Yeah.
I'm not thinking you're not saying it.
When you're saying abstract, what do you mean? Like,
I don't think you're not saying like the number two like exists in some kind of like.
Yeah,
like,
right. Exactly.
The symbol itself. You're not saying the symbol itself exists. You're just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just saying that there's these two rocks out in the universe. There's objects. There's ontics. Okay.
No, that's a fact, because I literally keep saying, even if we use different symbols, the values for those symbols would still exist, if that makes sense. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere.
Wait. That's maybe the confusing thing. When you say values of those different symbols, all you mean there is in a situation where there's like two objects. That would be like two objects, I guess. You don't really mean like these values exist. You just mean that if there are like some quantity out there, it could be quantified as to if a mind were to exist.
Yeah, I guess so. Are we saying that values don't exist at all? I thought that like math, like calculus and all those things is like how we're able to describe the universe. Like I'm pretty sure like I
They're
read
descriptive,
somewhere.
but they don't have ontics. And I think like that's what I was trying to bring Steven, because Steven's a mathematics expert.
Yes. Yeah,
Steven
bring
is,
him up. He's great.
yeah, I was wanting to bring Steven to help clarify.
Wait, I feel
Depends on
like
what
I
you mean by
read
value.
somewhere. I feel like I read somewhere that Einstein and like other physicists were like amazed by how like they discovered math. They feel like they discovered it and
Yeah,
not
so
that they created it.
well, I'm not saying that the universe doesn't work mathematically. I'm saying that.
But if it works mathematically, these things have to exist outside of us because we're new in
Not
comparison.
necessarily. We don't really know why. There's no proof, as it were, as to how. Well, there's no proof as to why it works mathematically. It's one of the kind of things that still has yet been to really demonstrated. We just know that it does.
Hey, Steven, maybe you're perfect.
Yeah, I'm more concerned. Don't be so concerned, Belle, with necessarily if it exists, but are they true? Is it true?
Yeah, I feel like 2 + 2 equaling 4 is totally true. Yeah,
It's true to us.
But
It's true to us.
logic said that there are instances where 2 + 2 could be false.
No, that doesn't.
Yes, there are.
That's a contradiction.
Yes.
Wait, is it okay? I just want to bring.
Standard arithmetic. It is always true. Yes.
I just want to bring Steven into this conversation.
There is non-standard arithmetic.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't care about non-standard arithmetic.
well, I do, because it means that it's true that there are different ways of.
No, yeah, you would just
expressing
simply
2 + 2.
You would just exactly. But I already responded earlier by saying, so long as you mean the same thing when you say 2 + 2 = 4, then that was always true. But
Right,
if you're
but
just
then-
changing what you
but
mean,
that
if you're
means
just
that-
changing,
no.
if you're just changing what you mean when you say 2, then of course it's going to mean something different.
No, I'm not changing what I mean by when I say 2. I'm
So
changing what I
non-standard
mean when I say.
mathematics. So non-standard mathematics does not change what you mean whenever you say 2 + 2 = 4.
I think I agree with Rob here, but Steven, I want you to come in because I think I want you to clarify at least
exactly
in your view, Rob or Steven. You don't believe like I think Bell is trying to say that mathematics exists out without minds and is discovered.
Yes.
As a mathemat.
First, I wanted to say that atheism isn't a view on like the origins of mathematics. People have different views on that. But if you're asking about my particular view, I'm a nominalist. So I think you have like concrete things in the world, and then you have beings like humans that have minds, and we develop language. We develop systems of logic, which are types of formal languages, and then we developed systems that are capable of doing arithmetic, which we call math systems. That's my view.
This you wouldn't say that like these things were like discovered. This was just invented by human beings.
I mean, there's kind of a sense in which you might say it's a little bit of both. Like if we're referring to like the formal system, like rigorously, I do think humans invented those just like we invented languages that we use to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some sense of like discovering things, like people discover new theorems, new proofs and things, for instance.
Wait, so you don't feel like, I don't know if I'm using the correct term for it, but you don't feel like the values exist regardless, like it's mind independent of us, like 2 + 2, even if we use other symbols, it would always equal 4.
Well, I take value to be mind dependent.
Exactly. I don't know what value means without mind.
So you're saying that it's wait.
But what if
So
by
you're-
value she simply means the units of 2 + 2?
Yeah.
That's the point. So if you take one rock on one side of the universe and another rock and took it to the other side of the universe, what would be the relationship between those two rocks? You could still describe them as two rocks, but how would the universe, outside of any kind of mind,
because you wouldn't
have
describe
any kind of relationship that would describe them as anything other than rock and rock?
because you wouldn't describe them as one rock because there's two rocks that are there.
I would agree there's two rocks, but rock is just an abstract
The
category that we
concept,
have
like
for like grouping things and categorizing. Like,
Steven, the words that we're
Categorizing,
using right
yes.
now, the words that we're using right now and the symbols that we use to describe these things makes it easier to like have these conversations. But like, if there were two rocks there, there would always be two rocks there. If that makes
Yes,
sense.
but
I mean, why
outside
there would
of-
always be two. If I broke them up and made smaller rocks, there would be more. I don't know. what
Okay,
you mean.
yeah,
and that's the point I was trying to
that,
make.
okay, if you did that, but I'm talking about the fact that there would always be two rocks there, even if we didn't have a language to describe that the two rocks are there. What's happening? Y'all really?
But that's the point I was trying to make. It was like a rock
okay.
is made up of atoms, and those atoms are made up of quarks.
Yeah.
Which bits
Wait.
of, which
This
bits
is
of-
this
I'm not
is what I
saying
feel
that
like.
the rocks wouldn't exist if we didn't have the language to describe them. Like I'm
This
not.
is
That's
that's exactly
exactly.
what I think that you're saying. Like you
No,
guys are
that's not
making
what-
it seem
so,
like
I
if
think-
I didn't have a word to name a rock, that the rock wouldn't exist. That's literally what you guys are saying.
No, that's not what we're saying. So, in my view, I think the world consists of what we call like concrete things, and then we have language to describe those. So we have a category that we call rocks, right?
Yeah.
And something either fits in that category or it doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So I'm not saying that those things wouldn't exist if we didn't have the language that we use to talk about it. So there's the
talking
referent,
about
the thing in the
numbers,
world
though.
that it's pointing to, and then
Yeah.
there's
What about numbers though? Like the value for numbers.
What I just consider numbers to be another abstract concept that we use for counting things.
And you feel like that's not something that was already there and we just created a language to describe it.
No, I think it's something we developed.
So we developed like the values for numbers.
Yeah. And I should maybe be a bit more accurate here because there is a sense in which you might say that other creatures besides humans can kind of like count their eggs in a sense, right? But what I'm referring to is like systems of arithmetic, math systems of logic. I think we constructed those. Language, like right now we're using natural language, in particular the English language. I think we developed English.
Yeah, I feel like we developed language, but I just don't understand. I don't understand the concept. Like I feel like there had to have been like a value there to make it logical. Like there had to be something there, even though I don't know how to describe it, for 2 + 2 to equal 4. Like there had to be something there.
The laws of logic are what we call semantic laws. They're laws of language, thought, and reason. It's important not to conflate those with, say, the laws of nature or the laws of physics. Does that make sense? So like we often consider like logic to be separate from like
mind is already
epistemology. That's not to say there can't be overlap between them. But
my mind is already made up that logic and math exists outside of us. So you guys have to convince me otherwise.
why would I believe? So do you think that the English language exists outside of us?
No, I think we made that up.
So why would you take that logic, which is a formal language system, that's the category that's in, it's a formal language system. Why do you take that to be outside of us, but you don't take natural language,
The reference
like
of
the
logic.
English language, to be outside?
No, okay, for example, we can't
reference
feel
of
or
logic
touch
is
gravity. Like we can't feel or touch gravity or like put gravity in a box, but gravity, and we have a name for gravity. That makes sense. Like no, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, but that's that has
wait.
to do with
Wait, you
the
can-
natural, so that has to do with, again, it's important not to conflate logic with epistemology. So there's like natural laws like Newton's 3 laws of motion, right?
So you're saying that we shouldn't conflate logic with knowledge? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, so when we talk about science and the way that the world actually is, that has more to do with epistemology. Logic has to do with like language, thought, and reason. I could use logic with fictitious things, right? I could say for all X, if X is a ghost, then X is spooky. That, you know, like I could use logic when I play Dungeons and Dragons.
That's wild. This is wild. No, wait. I'm gonna look up sources because this is wild to me. But I'm listening.
Well, it's an important distinction that I see some people on TikTok make. So, like, logicians don't make this confusion between logic and epistemology, right? So, the logic is how we describe things. Whether that's actually the case in the actual world, that's more of an epistemic concern. That has to do with, like, the sciences and that sort of thing. You know, it's just like I could apply math to the real world if I wanted to, but I could also apply it to fictitious things. I could play Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering and do math and logic there, right?
Yeah, essentially, fictional stories can be logically, within themselves, logically consistent.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the way the world actually is the important distinction here. There's also non-classical logics as well, but typically I just use classical systems. And again, that's not to say that there can't be overlap. For instance, if I have some model, like in the sciences that describes the world, ideally, a prerequisite there would be I want it to be logically coherent and consistent, right? So that means like no contradictions.
Okay, I guess the next step is what evidence do you need to believe that math and logic exist independently of us?
Some way to show that you could develop a math system without it. I'm familiar with the history of how math systems and languages developed. So, I mean, if there is some alien like race out there that has their own math system, I guess that would be independent of humans. I don't know what else. Maybe
Yes, I guess
you might be talking about something different, though. You might be.
Yeah, I think she is.
You might have like more of like a Platonist type of view.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Oh, ironically, I'm looking at Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. It says Platonism is a philosophy of mathematics. So is that what you're talking? Is that what you're referring to?
It sounds
Yeah.
like you're a Platonist. Yeah. Personally,
Yeah.
I'm not a Platonist. I'm a nominalist.
Oh, okay. So if Platonist, because I've never heard that word before, but if Platonist means that I believe that math and logic exist like independently of us, then yes, I am.
Yes, yes, you are.
So I'm
Okay.
a nominalist. I just think we're like naming things and so on.
No, I don't think
Same
I don't
here,
think that
same
that's
here.
true. No. I feel like a lot of atheists are. Like I feel like I hear this argument from atheists.
I don't think it has. So if you're just saying like, well, I don't know the statistics on this, but atheism doesn't really tell me anything about whether they're a Platonist or a nominalist. It just tells me that
Yeah.
they don't believe in God.
No, I get it. No, I'm not saying that automatically an atheist is a nominalist. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm saying that most times when I hear like someone feels like we created the concept of math, it's an atheist that's speaking. Do you know what I mean?
Probably. Yeah,
Okay.
there's probably likelihood that somebody like Stephen or some of the other atheists that come into these lives have some background in, say, science or maths or some kind of that's likely, but it's not a given. That's the only thing, and there's no when you say atheists it's we kind of would kick back against that because there's plenty of atheists who don't think these things, or there's plenty of atheists. It's just that your experience is of some of the atheists that hold this particular view are more likely to be in these channels.
No, that's fair. Okay, I'm not trying to make like a general statement. I'm sorry. I'm just saying like when I've heard that, like I've just heard it from atheists. But yeah, I'm not saying that all atheists believe that.
Well,
That's crazy.
a theist also would probably say that there is some kind of mind external to us that would instantiate the existence of numbers. Would be probably quite a common thing. God exists. God gave us numbers. Therefore, numbers are real. So that's probably why you tend to hear atheists kind of say these kinds of things more. But it's not a given. It's not a.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few atheists that are Platonists.
Or realists as well. I mean,
Mhm.
there's quite a number that are realists. I think Cage describes himself as a relaxed realist.
Guess there's no argument now.
Oh, that's okay.
W. Bell.
I mean, something that kind of helped me here was just learning about the history of the development of language, the development of math systems, and so on. That, because before I used to just be undecided between Platonism and nominalism. But, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so Stephen, I'm not a mathematician in any shape, way, or form, but I know a little bit about it. So in terms of arithmetic, when I was just trying to sort of demonstrate that it's not true in all cases that 2 + 2 = 4 unless you're just using standard arithmetic. But standard arithmetic isn't the only thing that exists. Do you have anything to say on that?
So, typically at the foundations of our math systems, we have what's called ZFC, which is Zermelo-Fraenkel set theory, with the axiom of choice. There are, you might consider like other systems of logic to be prerequisite to that, but that we often consider ZFC at the foundations of our math systems. And then you can construct things like arithmetic and counting. You can actually construct counting from first order predicate logic as well, by the way. It's sometimes called first order piano arithmetic. But there are other ways of doing arithmetic. For instance, if I was to use mod 2, then the only digits that I have to work with there would be zeros and ones. So there wouldn't be, a number 2 in the integers mod 2. There would just be zeros and ones like binary, for instance. I'm not sure if that's what you were getting at or if you were like alluding to something else. But.
So, yeah, no, it is partly. Definitely things like hexadecimal and binary was partly what I was alluding to, but also like tropical algebra. If you know about tropical algebra, that's sort of used in geometry and systems theory.
I don't think I'm familiar with tropical algebra. At least the name doesn't ring a bell, so I'd have to look into that further.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up as well.
But there are
I'm just aware that it exists as a tool for evaluating certain things.
Yeah,
I don't.
You could construct other systems for like counting things as well. Usually, again, we typically just use like ZFC and like standard first order piano arithmetic, but that's not to say it's the only system. The others tend to be a bit more uncommon. But, yeah.
It's for I just looked it up and it says it's for like kind of shortest path problems, scheduling, control theory, phylogenetic trees, and certain geometric models that use tropical geometry. and it says it redefines the operations. A tropical addition, instead of add then multiply, you take a minimum then add.
Okay. Yeah. So one way that you might describe addition is so you have what's called like a successor function, and you plug some number into the successor function, and then it outputs some other number. So if I inputted the number 0 into the successor function, I would get 1. If I input 1, I get 2. And that's one way that we can kind of build up addition. And then, well, there's also, they're called like the axioms for the real numbers.
Yeah,
The
piano
field
is.
axioms. Yeah.
Do you feel like more scientists would, I guess, adhere to or subscribe to like Platonism versus nominalism? Is that how you say it?
I'm not too sure on the statistics. Some of the people that I've talked to in my area actually are pretty sympathetic to Platonism. And then other people that I've spoken to in physics tend to be more nominalist. But that's just my personal experience. I don't know like the statistics on it.
And also, I think, yeah, definitely. I've discussed this with a few physicists who come from both camps, and I think probably you'll get a lot who are either non-committal or just haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
Stephen, what's your objection to like universals?
Well, I don't really think that universals are like a thing.
Right. I was remember having a conversation with Justin, and maybe I'm not too sure what's being said. The people that some that host the universals, did they believe like universals is what makes reality coherent or something?
So, I mean, people might have different views on this, but so one, maybe this will help to elude my view. So, if we got rid of like all things in the universe that we call scissors, I trivially I would just say scissors don't exist in that universe. Some people want to say that even in a universe without scissors, you would still have this abstract category of things that we call scissors. But I think that, you know, if you get rid of all the particulars there, then we would just say scissors don't exist in that universe.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, nominalism is almost the antithesis of what we would say is you know, nominalism is like a rejection of universals.
It is a rejection, but I'm not too sure like why if the rejection of universals is incoherent to some of the host universals.
I also don't think there's a problem there. Some people want to say that, like, for instance, when you see two red things, that they share this like property of redness. Whereas I want to say is that they're just similar, and we express that by saying that they have the property of red. I don't actually see much of a problem there, but it's always possible that maybe I'm just missing something somebody else could allude me to.
But you're saying that to the two red when you see two red objects, you're saying what again, Stephen?
Some people want to say that if you have two red objects, like a red apple and a red car, that they both share the property of like redness, right? Where I think that's one way that you could describe it, but I just think that we see two things, they're similar, and we express that by saying they're both red. They might not even be necessarily the same shade of red, right? But we just express that by saying they're both red.
Yeah, it's our label of what that is. There is no property of redness that exists outside of our way of describing it as red.
So in the universe that doesn't, are you talking about a universe or a planet that doesn't have scissors? Is it because scissors aren't possible, or is it just because they haven't invented scissors yet?
Well, I guess that doesn't. So the issue here would be if you don't have any scissors in that universe, is there still like this category of things that we would call scissors, even though there are no particular instantiations of that category?
Probably
I
not.
just use like scissors, but you could also say like a world without rocks, right? I just trivially think that a world without rocks wouldn't exist. It seems kind of obvious, right? But
But I feel like that one is even crazier. Is it possible to have like a planet that Wait, which one is it? Is it Jupiter, or is it like Neptune that's like just like gas? I forgot which one it is.
I think you're thinking of like planets. I was
Oh.
thinking like a logically possible world, like just
Oh, okay, no, because I mean, when I think of a planet, I automatically assume that there's gonna be like some type of grounding, like rocks. But then I remembered like one of them. I don't remember which one. If it was like Jupiter or like
There's two. There's more than one. Gas
Oh, yeah.
giants, they're called.
Yeah. Like it's just gas, and then if you were to like drop something into it, like it would just keep going. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
What's the new topic?
Gas is subject to the laws of gravity, as is all matter.
What the fuck?
Mm.
Cool. Right. Well, I think we got onto this because I contended that we were talking about supernatural and natural with J-Rob, and we got to a point where we started talking about whether logic was a real thing within the universe, which is how we got onto that subject.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, like, isn't what we would describe as natural, like usually like physical or material, and then what we would describe as supernatural would be like metaphysical? Oh, I'm not saying every metaphysical thing is supernatural, but like I'm like generally.
I would say that I don't know what something supernatural is, because I would perceive anything that exists within the universe as being natural.
It does seem like let's say hypothetically, if we discovered some violation of like a scientific natural law, then we would just update our understanding. We would just say, oh, what we once thought was a law, it actually isn't, because there is at least one instance in which it's violated. So it's not clear to me what beyond nature really means here, but I don't know.
Yeah, and that's my understanding as well, is that anything that would happen in that kind of way, exactly, we would just update our understanding to say, oh, right, okay, so that can naturally happen.
Oh, I thought metaphysical just means like it's not abstract, like it's not like material. So like math and logic would be like metaphysical, right?
To my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Would be metaphysical concepts. Like empathy is a metaphysical concept.
Okay. And so I think that's what J-Rob is saying, like with the difference between natural and supernatural. J-Rob? J-Rob, are you there?
My fault. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Like what did you mean by supernatural?
Yeah. What do I mean? What's the difference between natural and supernatural?
Yeah, they want to go back to that, yeah.
Really? I thought I made it clear. Obviously, natural is going to be you know, just going to be what is, you know, abiding by these consistent laws that are part of, you know, the universe. And supernatural is going to be something that's not, you know, bound by those laws.
So just something that isn't bound by natural laws. It's not,
Right.
yeah, it sounds like if we were to learn about such a thing, then we would just update our understanding, and what we once thought were natural laws actually weren't because they can be violated, right? Like if there's something that could travel faster than the speed of light, for instance, it sounds like we would just update our understanding and say, oh, what we once thought was a natural law actually isn't, because there's at least one instance in which it's violated.
Wait, and then how could it be violated and also not be violated? Like, what do you mean?
No, I'm saying if there is at least one instance in which it's violated, then we would just update our understanding and we would say, oh, that's actually not a natural law, right? Because if it can be violated, then we can't say that you can't travel faster than the speed of light, right? Because there would be a contradiction there. So it's like what we once thought was a natural law actually wouldn't be if there's at least one instance.
Or we would just say that nothing natural can violate the speed of light.
I feel like if something could, I could be wrong, but I feel like if something could like go faster than the speed of light, we wouldn't even see it. Is that true? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not what Stephen's saying. I think.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's just
like a random. You're right. You're right. Stephen's right in what he said. Like, I get it. Like, based on how science works, like based on what we discover is how we update things. Like, for example, like cause and effect used to be like a universal thing until they found out that random thing, like random particles or atoms, like pop up and like on the quantum level. But I was just making like a random statement. Like, we wouldn't even know if something went faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, but it would be one of those things that they would theorize, I guess. Somebody would have to demonstrate it. Funnily enough, they would have to show the maths that it's possible. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. I mean, the speed of light is always represented by a placeholder anyway.
Do you guys like to read like fiction, not nonfiction?
Yeah, both.
Oh, okay. I'm reading like Project Hail Mary, and it's like a science fiction book. It's really interesting.
I think have they just made a film of that?
They did?
I think so. Hold on.
I didn't see it. If they did.
That's right. I just went to the cinema today to watch Wicked and saw the trailer for it.
Oh, is that good? I want to see it.
I love Wicked.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it. I love the first one. I need to go see it.
Did you see the second one, Plum?
I have not seen it yet.
It's not as good. It's not as good, but it's still good. I still enjoyed it. But yeah, Project Hail Mary. They had a trailer for it. It stars what's his name, Ryan Gosling.
Boyfriend's a hater. He said I fell asleep. I fell asleep maybe like 5 minutes, like the last 5 minutes of the movie. He's such a hater.
Yeah, I'm talking about Project Hail Mary though. Project Hail Mary. They've made a film.
Yes. I don't think I've seen that one either. I don't think I've even seen
it's not out
trailers
yet.
for that
It's
one.
not been released.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen trailers for that one even. In our house we watch K-pop Demon Hunters every single day.
So
which
boring.
I actually don't mind.
Oh, I find it really dull. I find it really dull. I find it really tame. Like, I much prefer the Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls were awesome.
K-pop Demon Hunters is where the fuck it's at. Such good
There's
music.
no sense of, I don't get any sense of like. I don't get any sense of sort of that like. It's just too. There's no self-knowing. There's no clever humor. There's no like Has Been Hotel. Anytime I will watch that every time.
I need to watch the second season. No spoilers.
Okay.
No spoilers.
But,
I need to watch the second season.
No spoilers. It's so good.
So.
I enjoy Has Been Hotel so much that I have a Husk and an Alistar and a Angel Dust plushie sitting right next to my bed that I sleep next to.
Yeah, I love it. But there was that
He's my
other show
favorite.
as well. There was a really good show, and they
Hell of a
seemed
Boss?
might be. I don't know what it's called.
By the same
but it's
creators.
Well, no, it's not that.
I like that
There's one about people that end up in a circus. Well, not a circus. Their minds are downloaded into some kind of environment of which this woman wakes up and she's
Circus
like
is
a
in the
clown.
title. It's like
Sorry?
the Fantastical Circus, or
Oh right,
I don't think I've heard of
Is
that
that
one.
what it's called?
it's something like that. I know what you're talking about. With Pimby or something. What's the lead character's name?
Yeah,
It's like it's literally like a random 5 letters.
Yeah, is it?
Bye.
See you, Stephen.
No, what's up, guys? I'm still playing video games, but I'm listening.
What you playing?
Fallout 4.
Nice. I've been trying to get through the last chapter of Dispatch.
Oh, I already finished the whole thing.
I kind of want to replay and see how all of the different choices can make differences in scenes, because, like, yeah.
The Amazing Digital Circus logic.
Oh.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of.
But yeah, life be lifing. But yeah, I guess we talked about everything.
Yeah, I guess
We
so.
win.
There's no beef.
Yeah,
Wait, did she say?
Yes.
Wait, did she say that you guys win? No. Theist win. Win theist.
The Amazing
Nah.
Digital Circus. Yes, that was correct. Thank you. I've just looked it up. Definitely. Really good show.
But yeah,
Really creepy.
one of these days, like one of us has the right answer. Who knows? Who knows who it is? I don't know.
We know. I think you know too.
Like, I don't know, bro. I have a feeling, but that just might be religious trauma. Like, I don't know, bro.
Fairly certain it's religious trauma.
Win theist. It was me and J Rob. Like, it was like 5v2. Or is it 6v2?
Wait, under the under the Christian worldview, you guys do believe that your feelings can be like deceptive at times, right?
Yeah, sure.
So like, how do you like decipher like, oh yeah, this is like right, God does exist, and then like from like my feelings are just like irrational.
Oh, wow.
Wait. How do you like determine between the two, right? Like sometimes our feelings can be like, okay, this is like irrational, but then sometimes our feelings can be like indicators of some kind of truth value.
When you mentioned feelings, I thought like, okay, like it, like random like bouts of like jealousy that I might feel like towards my boyfriend or something. Not like I feel like God is bigger than that. What do you mean? Like,
Or so you believe that the Christian God exists, and like some of your feelings might like point towards that, right? But would you say that somebody who believes that like Satan, well, wait, actually no, somebody who believes like in Islam, would you say that their feelings are misplaced?
oh my God, you're gonna get me yelled at. I feel like they believe in the same God that we do. So I don't think that it's misplaced. But J Rob is gonna say that I'm wrong.
Jared, what do you hold to?
Wait, she said wrong about what? I didn't hear.
About Muslims worshiping the same God.
Oh, you still ain't learned?
Damn, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, they absolutely do worship the same God. It's like literally, it's
the only people that agree with you
hang
is
on.
atheists.
The God, the Abrahamic God is the same God for Judaism, for Christianity, and for Islam.
I think when we say the same God,
I try to tell him that
it has the same origins.
No, so
I think it's talking about the origins.
They started the same exact way. They're just different versions, essentially.
No, so
I tried to say that to us.
we believe the only thing we agree on is that there is a creator who's omnipotent.
Yeah, it's not about
all-powerful.
agreement. It's about origin.
Right.
So it's not.
So-
I know you think that you believe in God. It's just saying that the origins from the same place.
Go ahead, Jared. Let Jared finish real quick.
So in order to say that we worship the same God, that means that the person that is the creator of all existence is going to be identical. Okay? So we believe that Jesus is God, right? Muslims don't believe that Jesus is God. So we don't believe in the same God, right? Completely different characteristics, completely different person, right? So
But would you not agree? Sorry.
So we might, believe in certain things that are similar, but we believe in different gods.
But so hold on a second. Do you think there's only one God?
Of course.
Wait, logic is eaten.
So-
Logic is eaten already.
So they also only believe that it's one God. Yeah. And at some point, Christianity derived from Judaism. Yeah?
Okay.
Right? So because one derived from the other, when people say it's the same God, they don't mean. I understand totally that your understanding and interpretation of the God that you believe in is not the same as the Judaic one. We totally understand that. It's just that ultimately one came from the other, and as to which one's the correct one, I totally understand that you believe in this one and they believe in that one. But when people are saying it's the same God, we know that you think that you worship a different God because your interpretation is different, but one is derived from the other.
No, so you can make an argument that we have similar belief systems, but no, to say that we worship the same God, it's just
Yeah,
like
but
now.
I'm not
It's kind of
saying that you have similar belief systems.
I'm saying that, but that's what I'm saying. That's what you can argue. You can't argue that we believe in the same God simply because like we have similar roots. If that's what you're trying to say,
So, J-Rob, can I ask, is your God the God of Abraham?
Well, hold on, because let me just finish real quick. So, like, it's like saying, hey, you said, do I believe in one God? Like, yeah. Okay, I believe in one president, right? And let's say Muslims are saying Joe Biden is president. And, Jews are saying, I don't know, George Washington is president. You know what I'm saying? Even though we believe in one president, we don't have the same president. We're not believing in the same president, right?
But all those people exist.
Huh?
all those people exist.
Yeah, but there's only one person that is in office of presidenthood, right? So
J-Rob,
if you're trying to say,
can I ask a clarifying question? Is your God the God of Abraham?
Yeah, of course.
Muslims say the exact same thing, so we have.
They can claim that.
So
you can claim that. That doesn't make it true.
I'm just saying. It seems like you're both coming to different conclusions about the same God.
No, we're coming to different conclusions. We're coming to the same conclusion about different gods. Basically, we're trying to say that we're trying to say that.
Point I'm trying to make.
Wait, let me finish.
Let him finish.
We're trying to say that our God is the true God, is the God of Abraham. That's our God, right? And when we look at the characteristics and the person that each of us are claiming to be that God, these are different beings. These are completely different people, different characteristics. So they're not the same God. They're different gods, but there's similar characteristics, or like a similar, or it's the same office of being God.
I think we all understand that. I don't think we're contending. Anybody's contending that point.
So then stop saying we worship the same God. Then
I feel like it's almost like if we're talking about the president is Donald Trump, and you say that the president's eyes are brown, and I say that the president's eyes are blue. Like, it's still the same president. One of us is wrong about the eye color, but we're still talking about the same person. That's how I view it.
Well,
but
that's different.
I got tore up from the Christian community when I even attempted to address that. So
I mean, but that's different though. Like, your eye color doesn't make you who you are. So if somebody's mistakenly saying, oh, he has this eye color and he has that eye color, we're still talking about the same person. We're just mistaken on a certain characteristics.
Maybe stop me when I stop describing the same God that you believe in.
Wow.
Real quick, I just want to illustrate a point.
Just go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Real simply, do you believe in an almighty, all-knowing, omnipresent, omnibenevolent God?
Yes.
Okay. Is that God the same God as the God of Abraham?
Yes.
All right. Muslims make the exact same claim. You guys are just drawing different.
Oh my God, that's a claim.
The same God.
Look. If somebody said, "Hey, I believe in an almighty, all-powerful, or omnipotent, the three omnis," right? But my God is the God of Joseph Smith or something, or not even Joseph Smith, the God of, I don't know, just some random person that we don't, just some random dude. And all of those characteristics are different, right? Would you also say that they're worshiping the same God?
Is he also descended from? Does his God also derive from the God of Abraham?
No. Well, that's the point. Look,
I'm asking the question.
No.
Is that true?
Okay, great. No.
Answer the question.
I said it like five. I said it like five times. I said it 5 times. No.
Stop talking over him. Answer the question.
I said it 5 times already. No.
Okay, if that God is not descended or connected to the God of Abraham, then it's logical, or it's whatever connections it might have. I would agree there. You're looking at different deities.
Okay.
But Islam and Christianity both are derived from the God of the Abrahamic faith. Like, you guys are just branched off of the same thing at one point.
So you can argue for Judaism with Islam. It's completely different. You can't really make that argument because there's no evidence to even suggest that, right? There is no connection because in Islam, there is no Islam until Muhammad, right? Within Judaism and Christianity, they're both offshoots of the same tradition. So within Islam, it's a completely different tradition
Well, did it
that
not?
has no connection historically to Abraham.
Well, I thought it came out of. Granted, it came a lot later, but I still thought it derived from the same source.
No, so according to Islam, right, there is a different Torah and there's a different gospel, right? So the Bibles that we have are not like actually revelation from God. They're corruptions. They're corrupted texts that refer to the original, but they're not actually revelation from God. So that would mean that the narrative that's given in the Torah and the gospel is false under their worldview. So when they claim, hey, Jesus and Abraham, they're talking about different people. They're not speaking in the same tradition of Jews and Christians. They're speaking in their own tradition. Like if I just created a book right now and said, hey, yeah, I'm a new, I don't know, I'm the new revelation, I'm the new religion, you know what I'm saying? And I'm from, the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I worship that God, but my God is, he's like this and he's like that. He's actually he's not a he's a she. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna say, well, that's not the same God, right?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I get that. It's
I don't
just-
know. Like if you're tracking it back to the same God of Abraham, but with a different interpretation, what makes your interpretation any worse than anyone else's?
Well, no, like basically what I'm saying is like all the other texts are false, but I worship the true God of Abraham,
Yeah,
and
of course you would- of course
and
you would
that
say
God
that.
is actually a woman. If I said
But-
that, would you say that we're all worshiping the same God?
Well, yeah, because to the characteristics, it makes no difference to me. There's whether or not what we're talking about is whether the origin is the same origin, irrespective of how the different faiths manifest their different takes on that story. I totally understand that Muslims and Islam just have a totally different interpretation of what things mean and how it's all constructed and what's how. I totally get that, but it's all derived from the same source. It's just branched off, and I totally get that you would consider that it's a different God because that God that they're worshipping is not the God that I worship. I totally get that. That's perfectly reasonable, but we're just saying that it's just derived from the same source.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, my fault. My fault.
you're
Y'all
on
got
the
a phone
phone.
call. Yeah. But
I agree with what Logic said because
Of
if
course
there's
you do.
only I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not saying that they're right, J-Rob. I am just saying.
If you agree with them, that's what you are saying.
No, I mean I'm not saying
J-Rob,
that
stop
Muslims are
talking
wrong.
over her and let her talk.
Oh my gosh, look.
No,
Am I being rude? Like,
Over her and let her talk.
oh my god, bro.
J-Rob, I'm not saying that the Muslims are right. I'm saying that I just feel like they're worshiping the same God that we're worshiping. That's it.
It doesn't matter. It's not a comment on who's right and who's wrong. It's
Well-
just about how things were derived.
Well, no. So I got a phone call after I asked my question. So when I said that, if I just came out with a book saying that, hey, look, this has been revealed from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God is a woman, and she's like this and she's like that, and etc. Would you say that,
Yes.
Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and then my religion,
That God.
we worship the same God?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I
God doesn't have a
understand that you make
gender.
the distinction.
Would,
Sorry.
would you say that? No, I said God. No, God is a woman. In this religion,
Okay,
he's not. He's not
God
the father. He's not the father. He's the mother. Okay.
okay, but God doesn't have a gender. My bad.
Okay. He's a mother. He's
Um.
a mother. So
Okay, but
this
to
is
be
the
fair,
mother.
if there is only one God, right, and Abraham worshipped that one God, and they're saying we worship the God that Abraham worships, then there could only be one being or agent that we're talking about. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
So
That's all I'm
and
saying. I'm not saying
she's
that
the
they're
mother.
right in the way that they worship him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like it could only be one.
No, I'm saying though, but she's the mother, right? In my religion, she's the mother, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. She's the mother. Are we all worshiping the same God?
Like they would be
Again, J
wrong
Rob,
in their
like,
character.
yeah, if it's derived from the Abrahamic God, then yeah, you're like, you might have a heretical version of it, but like, yeah, if that's where you draw the power of your God, if you're tracing it back to the Abrahamic gods.
Well, but you said if it derives from it, but that's what's in question. So what we're saying is this doesn't derive from it. This is a claim. I'm claiming
So
that this
let
is
me, for example, let me say, so let's use me for example. If I said I've had a revelation from God, the God of the Old Testament, and I started a new religion, it would be founded on the Abrahamic faith.
Well, no, I'm saying that hey, the Bible is corrupt. It's not the
That's how
actual
sects work.
truth.
Like it'd be just a new branch of Christianity.
No, okay, so I'm saying that no, the Bible is actually corrupted, but the true God of Abraham is a woman, like, or is a mother. It's like you guys are Bill, are you also saying that I would be worshiping the same God?
No,
The mother,
no,
the mother of Abraham?
no. I'm not saying that Muslims are worshiping like that they worship him the same way that we worship him. That's not what I'm saying. Like I'm just saying like if they're saying that they worship the God of Abraham, Abraham only worshiped one God. So we can only be
No,
talking about
no,
one
I'm saying
being.
are we worshiping the same God? That's all I'm asking. If I say, hey, I worship the true God of Abraham, she's a mother, we worship the same God. Or is that a true statement?
You saying that God is a mother is not a true statement. So you're wrong in your characteristic of God, but it doesn't mean that God we're not talking about the same God. That's why I
No, I'm
brought up
saying
the eye color.
okay,
I
so you're
guess
saying
I
that
guess J-Rob, what
you're,
you're asking us to
wait,
prove is how much heresy is too much heresy.
wait, no,
I'm
no, it's
getting
all
in
heresy.
trouble. I shouldn't have said anything. Listen,
No,
it's
I'm just
okay.
trying to find out, are we worshiping the same God? It sounds like you said we do, like the
No,
mother
I'm
God
I'm
of
just
Abraham
saying. Listen,
is the same.
I'm saying that they're wrong in their characteristic of God, but there's only one God. So
Well,
if they're saying that
let's
we
try
worship the
the
God of
go back.
Abraham,
Let's go back to the president analogy. Let's say you had two people who voted for Trump, and one person is kind of, yeah, I voted for Trump because he's going to make America great again. He's going to stop all kind of foreign policy and what have you. And I want to vote for him because of those things. And then you have another person who is like, yeah, I voted for Trump because of his foreign policy, because he's going to bring, it's going to sort out the world order. Both of them say to each other, well, your version of Trump is not my Trump. my Trump is the one who's doing the foreign policy. And the other one's like, well, no, my Trump is ignoring foreign policy. He's going to sort out America and he's going to look inward. So they've both got the same version of Trump, but they've got two different interpretations of what Trump's going to do.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to describe, J-Rob. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're correct in how they view God and their characteristics, their description of characteristics of God. I'm just saying, like, if there's only one God, that person's saying I'm wrong. I don't know, bro. Okay.
They're just two different interpretations. It's just
hello?
totally understandable that you would
Hello?
say that's not my God, but that's not what we're saying. I'm not saying that you worship the same God with the same characteristics. I'm just saying that it's derived from the same source. Otherwise, it has to exist independent. It has to have evolved independently.
No, I'm sorry, but just the problem is the personhood, right? If we're saying that two different people are the same person, this is what you guys are like suggesting, right? We're saying that, hey, just because they're claiming that their God is the God of Abraham, that means that they're the same person. Jesus is not the same person as, Allah of Islam, right? They're not the same person. So if they're not the same person, how could they be the same God when God is a personal agent, right? That's why I don't understand how you guys make this argument just by saying, oh, they're coming from, they're claiming to be the God of Abraham. Because essentially, this is all that is you guys are saying. You're saying if they claim to be the God of Abraham, that means that you're worshiping the same God. That's what your argument is.
The key thing is that there's a kind of an issue here of only one is correct. You would agree with that?
Yeah, obviously.
Can't both be true.
Right.
So either you are worshipping the correct God, or they're worshipping the correct God.
Right.
Right. So neither of those situations really speak anything of whether or not these are different gods. It's just your view of that God in terms of that God's characteristics are different from those others.
No, so
what you're saying. Otherwise, your argument is that there are two gods, and if there are two gods,
you're strawmanning so much.
Could I perhaps attempt to explain it as like neutrally as possible? Essentially, what has happened is you are both looking up and going, "We're going to worship this God," but you're doing so in different ways, and that you're both going off of the last prophet that you prefer, the last prophet that you like.
Furry, are you Muslim or Christian?
No.
So please don't strawman our worldview.
He's not straw manning. I feel like
Don't
that's
serve the same God. In Christian worldviews, any other God is quite literally a demon. So we're not serving the same.
The God of Abraham is the God you're endeavoring to worship, right?
They don't serve the God of Abraham. They don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, the problem is they're claiming.
I understand that there's a prophet that you particularly think is a Messiah. But the God, there is also the God as well. The Godhead, the part of the Godhead, the just God portion.
Yeah, the Muslim God contradicts his own characteristics over and over and over again.
Yeah,
there
so
are
the
some sects of Christianity
I just want to
that don't believe in demonology. Do you think that
just
they're
real-
worshipping the same God as you?
Wait, just real quick. The problem
One at
here
a time. J-Rob, you have to let people ask questions as well.
Well, they both were kind of
Let's
talking.
let logic let Logic Hat go.
He just asked a question.
Yeah. It was just a simple question. There are branches of Christianity that don't worship demonology, so that don't believe in demonology at all, because it's something that is kind of post post biblical. Are those people? Are they worshiping the same God?
I mean, possibly. We're not talking about demonology. We're talking about who is God, right?
Well,
And if
yes,
somebody
but
is,
this chap who came up
bro,
said about
bro, let me
but
finish.
I just want to clarify. Sorry,
Oh my
J
God,
Rob. I just
bro.
want to clarify because this chap came up. I don't know, Prince or whatever his name is, claiming that the Muslim God was a demon.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so I was responding to that.
Okay. Because he is.
I feel like Furry explained it like correct, like the way that I kind of view it, that we're both looking at the same God and we're like worshiping him differently. I'm
Now,
not
I'm really not trying to hurt your feelings, but if you're a Christian, you're just completely wrong. We cannot be serving the same God. It has to be
Oh my
demonic
God.
influence.
Okay, we're having like
We're not gonna do the one true Scotsman bullshit.
It's not a no true Scotsman fallacy.
Bullshit. That's
It's not
literally
a it's not a no true Scotsman fallacy.
No. Okay.
Well, it is.
Y'all aren't gonna say no. You're
Christian, how
dumb.
can you
You're
tell
full of
us our
shit.
world?
Whatever.
So that's not
Shut
a no
the
true
fuck up.
Not full
Scotsman
of shit. That's what the Bible says. It's what the Bible
Okay,
says.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on.
So wait, time out, because he didn't even say that
Wait,
she's
Plum.
not a Christian. Wait, time out.
Wait, Plum.
He didn't even say that she's not a Christian.
Wait,
He just said that
Plum, hold on, Plum. Wait, okay, I'm just talking about logically, okay? Logically, if there is only one God and they are saying that they worship the God of Abraham, we can only be talking about one deity. Like, do you get that logic?
Oh, wait, Bell. Because it's like this. If somebody looks at a statue, right, and they say, this statue is the true God, and they worship the true God, they're not worshiping the true God. They're not worshiping the actual God. So how can you say, wait, you're saying that, hey, look, that statue right there is the same God as the God who created everything, which it doesn't even make any sense, right? So you can't say that they worship the same God when they're worshiping an entirely different entity. They're just claiming that it's the true God, but in actuality, they're worshiping a false statue, a evil spirit. This is not the same God.
Okay, real quick mod moment. I'm getting a little on the tired side, and Coco said he wants to also go and do his thing. So 5 minutes, and then we're
I'm
gonna
done.
all take a break.
Yeah, thanks for having me up. I'm done. Take care.
It was good seeing you, Logic Cat. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks
Good
for being
live.
here,
I
Logic Cat.
enjoyed
Thank
it.
you,
Thank you.
Furry.
I
Well,
appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna follow you because I've yelled at you in the past, but I can't follow you. Never mind. I've yelled at you in the past, but that's because I'm a dick to everybody. But you're cool.
I try not to be too big of a problem, but if I get yelled at, I do try to correct it.
All right, I follow
I don't think I was trying to be rude. There's just literally Bible verses that state like, if people are claiming that they're serving the same God as us, but their fruits aren't showing or the characteristics misaligned, like it's just by definition, it's either God or the enemy. There's no in between.
I feel like that's kind of I feel like that's kind of exclusionary.
That's how Christianity
I mean,
is. Christianity
the Bible,
is exclusionary. God
Yeah, it
loves to
shouldn't be.
select people.
yeah, the Bible is exclusionary, like literally.
Oh, so
Could I
Christians are more
Could I
special.
make an attempt to put my 2 cents into this?
Sure. Just so you know, real quick, what's your age for TikTok TOS?
37.
Cool. And Kat down there, or Katrin, what's your age for TikTok TOS? Hello?
Patrick.
I'm sorry, we're not doing that right now, and it's we got 5 minutes at the live end, so I'm sorry, Katrin.
Wait, is Coco not here?
Coco's on Discord playing video games, I believe. He and I are both kind of ready for a break.
Well,
but,
Coco, Coco, why don't you make me mod so we could finish?
Well,
Fuck no.
I'm not sure about that one, Chief, but yeah, I might
Or
go
at least,
soon.
or at least make Bell one of us.
Do I have any Christian mods?
No, I'm gonna. Do you have Christian mods?
Be honest, I don't think you do actually.
I'll think about it. I'll give it some consideration.
I mean, just so we can keep the live going. Like, I don't know why we got to end it.
True, I'm impartial. I would never be rude.
I'm planning on going anyway because I need to like take a break and like do other things, but maybe some other time. But I'll think about it. I probably should get a Christian mod, to be completely honest with you.
If you don't mind, I wanted to go back to the original thing because, Belle, I feel like I might have came off like I was being rude and that wasn't my intention. But one example I wanted to give you is like, let's say we're talking to a person that believes in Greek mythology. I'm pretty partial to this because when I was a child, I loved Greek mythology. If they claimed that we actually misunderstand their religion, that Zeus is actually the original Abrahamic god and other people got it confused and all the other gods are angels or other deities, but Zeus is the same god as the one that we serve, would you believe that they're correct?
No, I wouldn't believe that they're correct in their. Yeah, no, I wouldn't believe that they're correct. But that's not what the Muslims are saying. And I feel like the Muslims have like a closer view to God. Like, I'm not saying that they're correct in their view. I'm saying like they kind of view things the way that Jewish people view things. Like,
Wait. If they're not correct, just like the Greeks are incorrect as well.
I don't remember if it was logic or if it was theory.
We're
but
not worshiping the same God. I
No,
don't get how,
but they're worshiping the Father of the Godhead.
no, they don't believe God is the Father. They don't believe God is the Father.
Real quick, guys, since we're probably taking a break soon, I do want to let Roy have a chance to get a word in.
Thank you for that. Well, I think we can make a distinction here and say that there's a claim, right? And then there's the reality of the matter. And I think that both things can be true. And what I mean is the Muslims claim, right, that they are worshiping the same God as the Christians. But the reality of the matter, right? The reality.
They say we're not.
Is that when
J-Rob, don't interrupt.
When you look at the characteristics of both, right? The let's say Allah and Yahweh, there has to be a line, right, where you say this is no longer the same God, because you can make a claim, right, and say, okay, we are worshiping the same God, but by definition of which God you're comparing, if they're not the same, right? If the Muslims believe that the identity of God does not include the triune God, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, you have to agree with me that there has to come a point where you say, okay, this is no longer the same God. It's no longer the same being. So I think you can have a situation where you both things can be true, that someone is making a claim, but the reality of the matter is that it's not the same God, because the identity, right? The identity of the Christian God is completely different than Allah. Allah is not the triune God that is the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. It's not even the Father, like J-Rob said. So I totally understand what Logic was saying and what the lady above me was saying. I get you guys' point.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality, right? Like, you can make a claim. Anybody can make a claim. But does that claim, does it coincide with reality? And I think...
Yeah, I agree, but I feel like it's more nuanced than just like it's not just black or white. So okay, so you kind of, Roy, you kind of understand like how the Jewish view God, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree that the Muslims like kind of view God in a similar way that the Jewish view God?
No, I wouldn't say that. The reason I say that is because in the Old Testament, right, you have the angel of the Lord of God, right? The angel of the Lord.
Which one?
Well, the angel that appeared to Abraham. Okay.
Okay.
If you read, right, Psalms and the early prophets, their interpretation of that is not going to be the same as the Muslims, right? Because Isaiah
Yeah, I think that
prophesied.
there are different interpretations. Like, I think the Muslims view the crucifixion differently. I think they said to like I went on a Muslim panel and they said that they believe that Judas took Jesus's place or something like that. I do feel like there are like drastic differences.
Yeah, see, like even that right there, that's just so disrespectful to not only the gospel but the sacrifice that Jesus made. Where it's like at that point, that's where we kind of have to draw the line, right?
I don't know. I just feel like logically, if there's only one God and Abraham worshipped that God, we can only be talking about one deity. I just
Wait,
feel like
but if
No,
we can
I understand what you
identify
mean
that
by
that's
logically,
if we can
but
identify
then
if,
you're
if
ignoring our
somebody
own worldview.
well, yeah, if we can identify that this is not that God, then that's how we can say, hey, look, yeah, we don't worship the same God. Just like when I said the statue, if we can say, hey, that statue is not the God of Abraham, even though you claim it to be, it's not. Then, like that, there you go. We can't say that we worship the same God.
Now, I will say this, that in other debates where I've encountered Muslims, I've heard Muslims themselves say that we do not worship the same God. They have said it themselves, is that they've used the language that our God, right, when they're making, their argument. And I've even asked them, I've asked, well, what do you mean by that? So you're conceding that it's not the same God, and they've conceded that. So they themselves don't view our God as being the same God, even though it's
You could
monotheistic.
be right. You could be right. They don't say that around me. If anything, at the most, like they'll say like they feel like Christians are polytheist or whatever, but they don't say that around me, and they appreciate that I don't automatically like say that they're worshiping demons.
Of course, they would appreciate that. That's the point of the enemy, is to deceive. It would make sense that their God would be extremely similar to ours.
So you think that
If it's
every
not God, it's the
Muslim
devil. It's
Bro.
literally, if it's not God, it's the devil. There's no other option.
Bro, so okay, if somebody came to you and said that you worshiping Jesus means that you're worshiping the devil, would you listen to anything else that they had to say?
It doesn't matter because Christianity's been proven true. The Torah is completely incorrect about so many things.
I'm saying going to
It hasn't
Muslims,
been proven true.
going to Muslims and telling
that's a
them
wild jump.
that they're worshiping Satan is not gonna want to make them listen to anything we have to say.
Now, I will say this.
Listen, it's the truth. If it's not God, it's the enemy.
I will say this. Prince's point may seem a little bit outlandish, but to his credit, right, the way the Bible describes the Antichrist is literally denying Christ. And that is the definition that is given in the gospel. So the Prophet Muhammad, right, and the foundation of Islam can be considered the Antichrist by the definition in the gospel. Because Christ himself says, right, that anybody that denies Christ, right, or preaches a gospel that denies Christ is the Antichrist. So
Miles,
even though Prince's claim sounds a little bit wild, he's right in saying that any gospel, right, that is preached that denies the identity of Christ and his resurrection, by definition, is the Antichrist. So I think it's totally correct in saying that Islam represents a Antichrist-like religion.
Literally what he warned about.
I feel you guys. I just feel bad to tell Muslims that they worship Satan because I feel like there are Muslims that are like genuine.
I'm very partial to that too. I'm an extremely empathetic person, but I think that one of the problems with modern Christianity is that people have forgotten that Jesus said that he came to turn brother against sister, child against parents. We are supposed to be people who are zealous of good works and loving, but Christianity is a very selective religion. God loves his select people, and he literally wipes out civilizations to protect his people. Niceness isn't the purpose of Christianity.
I'm not saying niceness. I'm just saying, like, I've met like Muslims that are genuine in their faith, and I don't think that they worship Satan. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, but and when you look into what Islam teaches, how could you not think that this isn't from Satan? When it literally talks about what you can do with children and unaliving infidels and stuff, like I can't see how you can look at this religion and see how He's even called the greatest of
You're saying that
deceivers.
all Muslims believe in the
Have
way.
you read any of the Quran?
It's not that. Yes, I have.
J-Rob, have you?
Yes,
have you?
I have, and
How
it's not
much?
about whether or not they.
How much of the Quran have you read?
I read enough to know what I'm talking about. So,
No, you haven't read the Quran, so
okay,
don't.
I read enough. So when
I'm not fond
my
of
God,
the
bro.
Muslim. I'm not fond of Islam any more than anyone else is, but I'm going to discourage Islamophobia, like saying infidels and stuff like that, because you clearly don't have
I mean, do
an
you want me to
understanding
quote?
of the.
Do you want me to quote
You
the source?
clearly. Can you shut up for a minute? You clearly, dude, keep on mute. I'm not going to tolerate Islamophobia or anything to that effect. Also,
Not Islamic phobic to actually quote what the Quran says. What are you talking about?
I mean, if you provide a
I
quote,
told you to.
you could probably work with that.
I dropped him because I got sick of him interrupting me. And honestly, I need a little bit of a nap.
I know the live is about to end. If you don't mind, really quickly, Belle, I always join your lives. I'm fine with like talking about this more in depth with you. Like, I apologize that like I tend to come off like I'm being rude, but I'm kind of like no nonsense when it comes to these things, and I can understand how the perspective comes off. I don't mind like speaking about it more in depth on your live.
I understand. Like, I don't take it personally. I've had, like, I tried to have this conversation before, and the Christian community got very upset, and that's when I learned like the division between the faiths or whatever. So I don't take it personally.
I mean, it's not just like us getting upset. It's just like I as a Christian, I know you said you feel bad, but there's some empathy that can be harmful.
Okay, what do you think that? Okay,
it's
what
like
do you think? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think that the average Muslim, especially like the average Muslim, like in a first world country, like in our country, like what do you think that they believe in? Do you think that they believe in things that would be considered satanic? Like, be for real. Like, what do you think that they believe in?
Wait, real quick. Satanic is simply just rejecting Christ, right? That's Satan's whole.
They believe that he's the Messiah, but they just don't understand
Oh,
the concept that
no,
he's
no,
a
no.
God.
You're straw manning their view.
No,
They do not think he's the Messiah at all.
No, they do. They do. They just don't think that he's God.
Jesus can't be their Messiah because their Messiah has to come.
Well, no, she's actually kind of right.
Thank you. They do believe that he's the Messiah. They just don't think that he's God.
Well, no. So here's the problem.
They
right?
view him as the prophet.
Yeah.
He was just another prophet, just as Muhammad was.
Well, no.
Exactly.
No. They believe that he was the Messiah. They just have a different conceptualization of what that is.
Right.
And,
No, they do not believe that he is the Son of God. They believe that he is
I didn't say
prophet.
Son of God. I didn't say Son of God. I said Messiah.
That's what you're implying when you're.
No, I didn't imply nothing. Do you not know what Messiah means?
I agree. I agree with both of you. Like, what Plum is saying, that they believe that he's a Messiah. They don't believe that he's the Son of God.
Yeah, they believe he's the Messiah. They believe that they believe
There's
they
no way
believe
they
that
can
he's
be the
coming.
Messiah, not the Son of God.
I'm saying they
Speaking
believe
of that, guys, let's just end on that note. There are people who want to take a break.
Yeah.
But, can anyone else go live?
Belle started it up.
I'm tired.
Okay.
Y'all follow Belle.